Hello, everybody, and welcome to Absolute Sim Racing for the second round of the SIM3D BSR MX5 trophy. And we are here at the wonderful Hockenheimring, a circuit nestled in the forests of Germany. Stretches over 4.5 kilometers, high speeds, heavy braking zones. And much like what we saw at Road America, there is plenty of time for slipstreaming, plenty of time for the drivers to provide us with some excellent racing as they did in the season opener last week. And as ever, I am joined by the wonderful Dan Handover, talking through all of the action. How are we doing today, Dan?
Magical as ever. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. As always, it's a pleasure to have you watching. Yes, this is it. Second round. Hockenheimring is a very, very good circuit. It's actually another circuit that lends itself to what we saw of round one, which is slipstreaming, going down through Parabolica, down into the big hairpin. That's going to be one of the prime overtaking opportunities. So do watch out for that. We're going to see how drivers take it all in their stride. But as always with these MX5s, momentum is key.
Yes, it really will be. We'll be able to watch the drivers now as they start qualifying. The first flying laps will be about to get underway here. Times we're looking for will be in the low 1:57. If you can crack into the 56s, the bit of slipstream, you are going to be well on your way to securing that all-important pole position. And as someone who actually took part in the fun races that are hosted for free on a Monday, get yourself down to the BSR Discord if you fancy getting involved in some free MX5 racing. It is really close all the way through the field. If you can break away, then that is your best chance of winning early on and allow the drivers to fight behind you. You can see here we're following Fiona Siddons. She's going through turn one now, absolutely sending it like you can do. Be careful of the off track there, because that will invalidate the whole of your lap, and it's a long 2 minutes around waiting for your next chance to try and snatch pole position. Fiona, whose aims this season, she said, didn't she, last week, trying to get that top 3 in the AM class, finish on the AM class podium. So we'll have to see if she can manage that this season. But we also have a few more drivers joining in. Tom Griffiths, a driver that we saw last season, missed at the first round, but circumstances changed, and he is available now to race in hopefully the remainder of the season. You can see him here just going through a very tight hairpin of turn 5. We're down into the flying flat out turn 6. Now to slow down for the next complex before coming into the stadium section. Braking just at the end of this curb, then turning it in, pitching it nicely. Second gear, power out, trying to avoid the outside, get over to the left as much as you can while shifting it in. Get up into third nice and easily, into fourth, and then run into this corner where you can either take it in third or fourth, but all just in front. One of the Swift Cooper Esports cars, not sure who that was, getting out of the way, however, maybe holding time up a little bit, but this is the first lap. It will just be a banker. Late Apex powering through, using all of the circuit. Can dip down quite nicely over that left-hand side. It doesn't give you an off track. And then here, shift it and keep it in third, I find is very, very good for a lap time. But I think we're seeing Tom Griffiths opt to go into second gear, powering his way up towards the timing line now. What will it be for Tom Griffiths? Goes faster with a 1:57.53. So a good lap time on the board for Tom Griffiths, but he can go a little bit faster. I think he knows that.
Well, as you say, you've got pace in that car. You've got to be able to utilise these first laps as bankers. You don't want to be pushing the car too much. You always want to get that time on the board. At least then you know you've got one. Regardless of where it's going to be, any time is better than no time, to be perfectly honest. Currently, as it stands, so Tom Griffiths is the pole position currently for your pro category. The pro in AM is actually Andy Thompson, which you can see just
behind
there.
him.
Now, exactly, yes, literally just behind. So utilising the slipstream, this is key. Look at the train that we've got here coming down. This is exactly what the drivers want. You need to make sure that you're not going to be held up. That's the only thing. But if you can be nice and close, then you will gain some time. Someone went a little bit wide there. Couldn't quite see who that was. Jamie Gilliford, who went a little bit wide. He's now back on the track and off he goes. So Andy Thompson for that Swift Cooper Esports car is making his way around lots of green sectors. Tom Griffiths has just hasn't put in any purple sectors for his next lap. Jason Cooper, first lap was 2:05, but I'm sure again we'll see his times coming down a fair bit more. Again, look at the gaps between everyone. It's so close as per usual. And I think realistically, again, we're going to be in for a treat of a race here, Ed.
Jason Cooper purple in the first sector. I've also been keeping my eyes out for Ben Sharp. He's in a great spot there, tucked up right behind the 127 of Shane Piggott. Got plenty of good spacing as well, so this could be a very quick lap time for all of these drivers here. Always seems to be the second flying lap is when the tyres are at their peak. Third lap as well, they're in good condition, but after that point they do start to noticeably drop away. So across the line we'll see Andy Thompson. Ben Sharp does go fastest. I said it could be a good time, and it certainly was. Now into the 1:56s, so that is a cracking effort for Ben Sharp, and that is going to take some beating. He was in the perfect spot right up behind Shane Piggott. Good spacing between the pair of them, and that's helped Ben out a treat now into pole position. Seeing where Jason Cooper comes through, though, really cutting that inside curb. You're allowed to do that. It doesn't punish you for it. Using all the circuit, this is a very good run into the third sector here by Jason Cooper. So keep your eyes on that timing screen. Purple in the first sector. What will it be for the remainder of this lap for last season's champion? Careful not to run out too wide. He uses it perfectly, nicely over the inside curb. Uses all of the circuit on the exit. Jason Cooper is going to come across the line, but what will it be? What effort has he been able to put in? Fastest, a 1:56.796. That is the quickest time we've seen across the past 2 days of MX5 racing, both in the Monday and the Tuesdays. That is a stonking lap from Jason Cooper.
Very quick lap indeed from Jason Cooper. Purple in all sectors, and he's got a 1/10.5 over Ben Sharp. It's not over yet, though. We're seeing a few more times coming in. Tom Griffith has set another purple sector too, only by 200 of the second, but purple is purple. A little bit further down the field, we do have Harley Moss, currently in the number 97, sitting in P3 in the in the Pro-Am category. No, sorry, in the Am category. I was correct the first time. Fiona Siddons, though, currently in P2 in the Am category. Only about 900ths away from Simon Robson, currently leading. That is P17, P18 and P20 respectively that these drivers are. And then a little bit further down, you've got Mark Oliver a few tenths behind. It's close all the way through the field. Renato Campana, he's actually just gone, that's now 5th in the Am category. Someone's just jumped up though. Who was that? Craig McDonald. What a time from Craig McDonald there. Man, she was a 57.48. And that's put him quite substantially. Well, I say quite substantially. There's only about a 10th between himself and Andy Thompson in P2. But that is, importantly, look at that, that's 3 positions on track on the start of the grid between himself and then Andy Thompson. Adam Delmont has actually just gone, no thank you. So he's now just put in straight behind Craig McDonald. Again, it's close. It's exactly what we want to see. Casper de Court, I've only noticed, is a 100th of a second behind Michael Sill as well. These, as we have seen before and we've always seen, so close. And I think, actually, now that everyone's got a bit used to everyone's different driving styles, I think people are going to be wanting to push a little bit harder straight from the word go this time. And that's already showing us that, and we're already being shown that in qualifying, I think.
As we just see the number 14 go through and go a little bit wide. And who is that number 14? That is Jamie Gulliford. Good to see him back. I'm used to seeing him in the 40-40 colours a couple seasons back. He was a real hard charger in that team and nearly took the Pro-Am class, but narrowly missed out by, I think, a margin of 5 points in the final round. So heart rate for Jamie Gulliford. He missed out quite a bit of last season, made the odd round here or there, but hopefully we'll be able to see him for much more of the season. Of course, last season he missed quite a lot for the arrival of his new child. So congratulations, of course. It was a little while ago, but still congratulations, of course, always to Jamie Gulliford. And we're going to see if he's going to have a charge this time around. Takes some getting used to, obviously, doesn't it? Getting back into the car, spending a little time away. We're going to see Jamie Gulliford now come into the pits maybe go for a quick tyre change and then go out for one final effort. His qualifying session, he will have just about enough time, I think.
Yeah, one, possibly even 2 laps. It does depend. It depends how fast they are able to go. Adam Delmont and James Neve have done times that are 1,000ths apart from one another. Now, for being in 2 different classes, again, you realistically can't get any closer. The only way you can get closer is if they were identical. I'm not even sure. Does iRacing actually? I imagine iRacing does have that. I've never seen it personally. This is the closest I've ever seen. 1,000ths of a second. And then you've got Sam Smith only, well, actually less than a 10th, 8,000ths up ahead and up the road. You've got to come, I think, realistically, you've got to come into the pits now. This is your opportunity to come into the pits, and this is your opportunity to get some times and get those final bits of time on the board. Qualifying, obviously, is nearly over. The track is a little bit more rubbered in. It's not going to be that much. The only thing that I'm actually thinking is the cars are spread out more at this point, so finding a tow might be a little bit more tricky here. It'll be better if you've got a teammate, but if not, it's going to cause you some problems.
Delmont's getting a little bit of slipstream from his teammate just up in front. Actually, can just see, oh no, they both pull over to the side. So, not going to be potentially an improvement for the 2 Excite Racing teammates, but I was in a great tussle yesterday with Adam Delmont harrying me all the way through, fighting up at the front for 2nd place, and I really think he's going to be one to watch because he races hard, but my God, does he race fair as well. Very smart, so keep your eyes open for him. And especially on a circuit where it's not all about qualifying, slipstream is strong. Maybe Jason Cooper, Ben Sharp, Tom Griffiths will be looking to try and break away from the pack, but it's easier to say it than to go ahead and actually do it. You can see the times there. Look at how close they all are. Through from 1st down to 10th. There's less than a second in it. In fact, if you want to get a second margin, it is a second from Jason Cooper all the way down to 15th place, Casper de Court. So you can see how competitive this field is. To be sure that we're going to be treated to some excellent racing.
One thing as well, it's just relentless pace from everyone, I think. That's the other thing. It's just the amount, the pace that the drivers have, it doesn't hold off. It's just a constant... It's just constant pace, which is great, obviously, for us because we get to commentate on some amazing racing. It's great for the spectators because they get to watch some amazing racing. I can imagine, actually, I do need to make myself, I do need to come down to one of the Monday nights and attend just to give it a go and really get a feel for the competition and just to see how sort of well I do, really. I might not, might be rubbish. But yeah, it'd be nice to come in and sort of get stuck in with the community. Because obviously I know that you do it quite a fair bit, Ed, and you always ask me to pop down. So I definitely need to make sure that I attend. Another couple of people that have actually done, again, identical times or near enough identical times that's actually not necessarily identical. So Jamie Gilliford, Simon Robson, they're, again, very, very close. Less than a 10th between the 2. Michael Seal is still only a 100th away from Lee Holmes at this moment in time. Again, you can see... sorry, no, that's actually Casper de Court. That's only a 10th or a 100th away from Michael Seal. Everyone's now coming into the pit. That is going to be it for qualifying. So Adam Dunmont, Jave Neve, Amber Nally, Andy Thompson have all decided that is it. Oh, big summits. Whoa. Michael Seal. That was a
very well held, wasn't it? That's going to ruin his... no, it's that time he's into the first corner. He can claw it back, though, with a good run through the first corner, which he does. Look at that, inch perfect. Missing the curb to unsettle the car, but using basically the perfect amount of runoff to not get on off track. So Michael Seal, he could try and improve, but he won't have any slipstream. So unfortunately, he might lose out on this occasion. Just seeing where everyone else is on the circuit. Jason Cooper, currently fastest of the bunch. And coming through now into the final sector. Ben Sharp has improved in the mid sector, so he's definitely one to watch as well. I think he's coming through the final sector as well, just about to cross the line. So maybe shift up to Ben Sharp and see what he can manage. Coming through the final corner now, right up behind the number 5. That is Casper de Court, nearly bumping him across the line. What will it be for Ben Sharp? Is there an improvement on the cards? No, there isn't. But it was, well, as close as you could get, I think, to improvement for Ben Sharp. Not able to make it, though, unfortunately.
No, well, as you say, qualifying is now over. So anyone that comes across the line, that is it, done and dusted. Tom Griffiths is yet to make any improvements, still riding in third position, only 400ths away from Ben Sharp. A couple of people just having a look at some more possible green sectors. Jamie Gilliford has got a purple...
I don't think he's gone across the line in time.
No, he's not. No, that was it. That was him done and dusted. I think everyone is now done. What is Lee Holmes going to be able to do? He's actually just coming across the line now. Is there going to be an improvement? Doesn't look like it on the timing tower on the bottom left, and it's not going to be 1:59.4. What can Michael Seal do?
Actually, from Lee Holmes, I'm surprised that he hasn't been able to find his pace. He was looking very strong in the Mondays and didn't even practice session before we got started in the qualifying session. Look at the times. Lee Holmes was a real top 5 contender, but just hasn't been able to find the luck in terms of getting that slipstream in qualifying. So in the race, he's definitely got the ability to be up there with the front guys. Let's see if he can race on through and get there. Following Frank Vestner though across the line, but does not actually does improve up 1 position, just ahead of Harley Moss. So you can see how thin the margins are. Speaking of Harley Moss, he is actually the fastest AM driver in the session. So 18th place, top AM driver in this qualifying session, going the way of the number 97 of Harley Moss. Purple MX5 makes its way into the pits, and the qualifying session is going to come to a close shortly, but was very close up at the front, isn't there? 15 drivers all within 1 second. Means that we're in for an absolutely amazing evening race. Or evening's worth of racing.
Indeed, we have 4 different races to be had. Remember, within these rounds, there are 4 different races. We have the first round decided on the qualifying grid, and the remaining races are all decided on the spinning wheel. The spinning wheel that I will be glamorously spinning after the end of every race. And what that does, that is just the standard reverse grid. They take the results from the previous round, the previous race, and they put it into a CSV format. And then they can get the results from there. That also calculates all of the points, etc., such as that. Not too long left to go, and then we're going to be running you through the grid. Jason Cooper did take pole position, which you'll see confirmation of that in a moment in the Pro category. In the Pro-Am category, we've got Craig McDonald that took pole position, only around about a second away from Jason Cooper. And Ed, I think we are all ready to go for race 1 here. Ed may be with us in a few moments' time, but not to worry.
Sorry, I realised my mic was muted. Hello, yes. So the start of the second round of the SIM3D MX5 trophy here at Hockenheimring, we'll see Jason Cooper start from pole position, the healthy margin over Ben Sharp, but of course qualifying isn't everything. The second row is headed by Tom Griffiths with James Clark alongside him in 4th. Craig McDonald will be 5th, best of the Pro-Ams, ahead of Sam Smith, making it an all-Pro-Am 3rd row. Adam Delmont will start 7th, ahead of James Neve, Shane Piggott, and Adam McNally, who rounds out your top 10, with Andy Thompson and Luke Cooper completing the 6th row of the grid. Lee Holmes will be starting 13th, ahead of Michael Seal. Gus Picourt 15th, ahead of Craig Cockrell, Frank Vestner, Harley Moss, Jamie Gulliford, and Simon Robson, making your top 20, with Fiona Sims 21st, Mark Oliver 22nd, Gareth Hickling 23rd, and Duncan Cope will be starting 24th. Renato Campana is 25th, ahead of Ashley Stimpson, Sean Campbell, Lars Fisher, Nick Clibbins, Andy McEwen, Ryan Main, Douglas Stewart, Glenn Humberston, Julian Schreier, Brian Stewart, and Liam Stimpson, running out the 35 cars racing here this evening at the Hockenheimring. And actually, they've all gotten away very early on. They've caught us off guard here. Jason Cooper, has he caught Ben Sharp off guard? I think he has into the first corner. And they will slot at least single file from the first 4, but in the background we can see they're battling between James Clark and I think that was James Neve. Yes, dueling for position. The number 7 of James Neve for the Matthews Logistics team. Trying to get a little bit of slipstream from the 777 of Adam Delmont into turn 2 they go. There's a little bit of a bump though, and that was between, I think that was James Clark and Shane Piggott having a bit of collection. There's still incidents coming on in the background there. I think Shane Piggott might have been collected a second time.
He may have been. It's looking like that. We'll see if we can get a replay of this. What on earth is happening here? Then we're going to go possibly 3 wide down as you go through Parabolica and then going into the hairpin for the very, very first time. Everyone's jinking, trying to find some positions. At the moment, it is still in this sort of train here. James Clark tries to go up the inside. I think he's going to make that move stick. Apologies, that's actually James Clark trying to go around the outside, going through the bottom hairpin. Everyone manages to concertina up, then it all comes down. Small bit of contact there. I think that was James, possibly Jamie Gilliford getting involved in that. So we'll see. No harm done by the looks of it. It's still quite close at the moment. James Clark still leading this train. He's got a 7/10 gap between himself and then just up the road is Jamie Gilliford. A bit further down as well, we do have again some more battling. Glenn Humberstone, who runs a little bit wide. Sorry, that was Douglas Stewart running a little bit wide. That's allowed Julian Schroer and Glenn Humberstone to go through. So Douglas Stewart losing out on a couple of positions there. Someone's had a spin round. That is Brian Stewart. He's lost some time there, you can see. And that's a very, very damaged front end as well. Mark Oliver has got to off. Ryan Maines also had a crash. Let's see if we can get to that and see what actually happened. I think Nick Clibben's got caught up in that a little bit as well. Lots of replays to have a quick look at as per usual. But that will give us a very good understanding of what is going on. At the front of the field, though, Jason Cooper, you can just see there, maintaining a half a second margin over Ben Sharp, with Tom Griffiths half a second behind number 24. Apart from that, with Craig McDonald in the lead of the Pro-Am category, there's a 1.5 second gap. So the top 3 really starting to pull away already.
Yes, they are. And look at this up in front. We can see Adam Delmont going for a move down the inside of Craig McDonald into turn 2. And oh, that was a bit of a bump there from behind by Sam Smith. Trying to find a way through, but only finding the big rear bumper of Adam Delmont as he made his way down the inside of Craig McDonald. But they are fighting it side by side through the Parabolica. The inside line will be afforded, though, to Adam Delmont. So he'll be looking to try and carve his way through as they come into the hairpin. Look at this, though. Sam Smith I thought he was lining up a dive for the moment there. Maybe throwing Delmont slightly off his line, but instead makes a very nice job of the hairpin. Instead actually tries to snatch position away from Craig McDonald, and they are side by side for 5th position, coming through the flat out right-hander, turn 6 and then into turn 7. Delmont's going to be having a great view of this behind to see the pair of them battling together, and whoa, that was a little bit of a lunge from Adam McNally, but he made it work. Marginal contact if there was any. A bit of door banging, but coming through and sorting themselves out nicely. So it is now 4th position Delmont, 5th McDonald, 6th Sam J. Smith. And here's a replay of, this was Luke Cooper, was coming into that very same corner. Did you get a bit of a bump from behind? Oh my word, I missed that. A huge lunge, and who was that coming through? Was that Lee Holmes? I think it was. Oh, just missing his braking point massively. Maybe carrying a bit too much speed from the slipstream. Misjudged his braking point because of the extra speed and sadly ploughed right into the back of Luke Cooper.
It's a bit of a shame. It's easier to do. You've got to be really, really switched on, especially when you've got still slightly cold tyres. There's a lot that can go on, so you have to be really, really quite careful. Time in Town now up on your left-hand side. So Glenn Humberstone going to possibly, no, there's no moves. Actually, that was Glenn Humberstone passing Andy McEwen. So McEwen can't quite find the pace at the moment, currently running in P21, although he has made up 8 positions as it stands. Unfortunately, lost another position, though, so Nick Clibben's now getting past Andy McEwen. So McEwen, unfortunately, hasn't quite got... He might not be comfortable in the car as of yet. Julian Schroer, and that's going to be Douglas Stewart, going to go side by side. Duncan Cope's got front row seats to what's happening on behind. We'll run on board with him in a few moments, but I think we're actually going to see, is that Andy McEwen losing another position? It might very well be, so McEwen must have damage of some description.
Slowdown. I think Andy picked up a slowdown actually going through the first corner. He looked a little bit wide, and I think he's just been having to bleed away that time and allow all the others to come through. But this is still a good effort from Andy McEwen, bagging some good points. Oh my word, and then there's a huge moment there. I think actually that little extra bit of collision helped keep the car on the straight and narrow. And who was that? Was that Renato Campana getting a little bit of a bump? I think it was. And then the second little touch helped him keep it on the straight and narrow. Maybe thinking that is someone's gone off in the background. Not sure who that is. I think that could be Douglas Stewart.
It might be actually. No, Douglas Stewart is still going along.
He's still there. I'm not sure who that was, but there was someone that went off on the run into turn 6, I thought.
Let's have a quick look. We've got a replay coming up here. So no, that was the incident with Julian Schroer. Yes, you can see the it just sort of like pushed together, and that was that. Renato Campana.
Oh, he's damage on the right front. Right front knocked out, camber knocked out of shape, and that's suspension damage. And unfortunately, Campana is going to either have to try and nurse that back to the pit, see if that can get repaired, or go for an early retirement. But look at this up in front. You can see that the battle for fourth and back is hotting up, but those front three have definitely checked out. Up ahead, it's still as close as ever, though. Jason Cooper ahead of Ben Sharp, ahead of Tom Griffiths. And instead, we've got this close fight. Look at now Sam Smith right up behind Adam Delmont. This is his best chance for a move. Coming through the parabolica. He's going to go to the outside, which will then become the inside. He's got such a good run that Delmont doesn't really want to fight this. I think you can just see he's allowing this inside line to be given. And instead, just maybe either going for the switchback maneuver. Goes for it, but has to check up massively because that was a great move from Sam Smith, parking on the apex, not allowing any chance for cutback, which is very strong on that particular corner. That hairpin gives you a good run through turn 6. Then look at this, Sean Campbell right up behind Jamie Gulliford. Is he going to fancy a move into turn 7? He's going to look to the inside. Late on the brakes. Is he committed enough? He's going to send it. Can Jamie have an answer back? He's going to try and sweep his way around the outside and then get the inside for the next corner. And you know what? That's worked out a treat. They battle side by side on the exit. And now in towards the stadium section. Jamie Gulliford will have the inside line, but will he have the corner? Is number 13 going to yield? No, he won't. So that was a great move by Sean Campbell there.
Good move. I think, to be fair, that Jamie Gulliford did try to come back, and I think that was because, and actually, do you know what? Jamie Gulliford's going to lose position of Andy Thompson. Big moment there. Managed to all keep it in check, which is very, very good car control from all of these drivers at the moment. Andy Thompson, Lars Fisher, Craig Cockrell. Don't not forget these drivers here because they're heavily involved in this at the moment. They're just sitting back, waiting for it all to happen, seeing what they can pick up at a bit later. Yeah, Jamie Gulliford, I think he tried to come back because Sean Campbell just bumped over the curb a fraction too much. That did cost him a little bit of time, hence why Gulliford decided that he wanted to try and get that move again. You can see how much again, the MX5, you can be quite aggressive on the curbs, but at the same time, you've got to be careful. If you're actually up on two wheels for quite simply too long, that will end up costing you pace. That's a bit of a send there from, who was that? Was that Lars Fisher? It was Lars Fisher on Andy Thompson. Good move indeed. Glad we got an onboard shot from Craig Cockrell's view because he had front row seats to that. Really, really good stuff.
In front, Ben Sharp is. I thought Ben Sharp for a moment was going on Jason Cooper. They got to under a tenth of a second, but I think that was just going through the hairpin. They've sorted themselves out now. Look at this though. Michael Seal right up the rear bumper of James Neve, braking hard into the hairpin. Does he get it stopped in time? Just about. That was a perfect send, wasn't it, from Michael Seal, the 57, making light work of that move. But it was a nice cooperation, I think, from James Neve, making sure there wasn't any contact. Now comes to Julian Schroer down the inside in the Team Gonzo 1 444, going through on Duncan Cope, but running very, very wide. He's going to get a better run out of the corner as a result. You can just see Andy McEwen in the background, 25th place for himself. Going to hopefully get a little bit of slipstream and get involved in this fight into the final 5.5 minutes of racing. Up in front, though, it's been a very commanding race so far from this man, Jason Cooper. I say commanding, but Ben Sharp is definitely keeping him honest, to say the least. And this is another reason why I've been telling you to get involved on the Monday nights, because you can just see firsthand how strong Jason Cooper is, because he won both races in the MX5. The lineup for the Mondays is 2 MX5 races, and then it's a car of either the Skippy or the GT3, whichever the drivers fancy running, because BSR run both the GT3 and a Skippy league. And I will say I won the GT3s, but there was no one that could touch Jason Cooper in the MX5. He's just so strong.
He's very, very quick, as you say. I mean, realistically, though, his rating is somewhat quite high, I think is the best way to put it, isn't it, to be perfectly honest? So it's understandable that he is going to be very, very quick. This is Jamie Gulliford having a bit of a moment. We've got a couple of replays to look at. I think this was actually the moment when they did go slightly wide, or could it possibly be?
Ooh,
yeah,
just outbrakes himself.
Yeah, just outbrakes himself, goes a fraction wide, manages to keep it back. So, you know, no harm, no foul there, realistically. Gareth Hickling, I think this may be a bit of the same. Yeah, just this is the problem as well. You try and push the car as hard as you realistically can. You know, you've actually got to be careful. Meanwhile, I've just noted that Ben Sharp has actually passed Jason Cooper. So let's have a quick look at this. This is going to be coming down through Parabolica into the hairpin. Best overtaking opportunity that you're realistically going to get on this circuit. Ben Sharp makes the move stick. Good stuff indeed.
Yeah, you can actually see, you know, to highlight that, the little bit of a wiggle Jason Cooper got on the brakes coming into there. When you are carrying that much speed and you're having to try and brake hard into the corner, you get a little bit of locking. It's not much, but it is enough just to unsettle the car a bit, and he gets that wiggle on, which means it's difficult to slow it down. It means you actually need to put a little bit less braking input in. It's difficult to tell though, because the feedback you get when you lock up isn't too prevalent, so it shows even the best drivers can find it tricky to get these cars stopped from such high speeds. Jason Cooper just losing out to Ben Sharp, but now he will be right behind, you can be sure, for these next few laps, and try to have a charge back on Ben Sharp. Look at this fight though, these sort of 7th place tussle. Casper de Court trying to find a way past Adam McNally. Can't find it for the moment. I do like that Excite livery though.
The Excite livery is very nice, isn't it?
Each one different as well. You can see Adam McNally's got the sort of yellow, orange and purple, and I think actually if you go to Delmont, he's got sort of a green and almost pinky purple. Goes very nicely. Makes me think of a nice watermelon.
What? A watermelon?
Yeah, it's like a nice watermelon. You can just see it in the background there. It's sort of at the front of it. Not sure. Maybe I'm just hungry. Maybe I'm just thinking of food too much.
I mean, it might be. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Back to the racing, though. Jason Cooper, he's actually just got past Tom Griffiths. But again, nip and tuck between these 3 drivers. Absolutely nothing in it. With the final closing 2 minutes to go, there'll be one more lap after this. So this is the penultimate lap. Timing is key here. We spoke about this a bit of Red Lantern, didn't we? So realistically, I wonder if Jason Cooper's just going to try and sit behind until they come down into Parabolica for the last, or through Parabolica for the last time.
I'm thinking as well about what Tom Griffiths is going to do, because this is his first time back this season, his first race this season. He's got a point to prove. He's definitely going to be looking through. It's actually Smith and Delmont. Look at how close they are. Delmont around the outside. He's going to try and go all the way through, get a good exit, which he does. Are we going to see him sweeping his way around the outside? He's going to have a nose in front. Conway, you can take it in 4th or 3rd gear, depending on if you are side by side or not. But Delmont goes through, still fighting side by side, but this long sweeping left-hander means that there's no real way for Sam Smith to fight it, but he will. You know what? This is great stuff from Sam Smith and Adam Delmont. The battle for 4th place has been absolutely electric, and we see now Sam Smith getting through. Look, he's going to take advantage of the pattern check down the inside. Casper de Court. What a smart move that was. As we are starting now the final lap, you can see the white flag being waved. This is it, down to the wire now for 4th place. Sam Smith, Casper de Court battling through. Casper is just about able to stay in front. Runs a little bit wide, gets away with it. They're going to be trying to fight it 3 wide. I think it will become 2 wide into the next corner, just behind into turn 2. You can see Casper de Court goes through. Delmont, Smith, McNally, they're all somewhere in there. Look at this fight through. Pick a car and just follow him, because do you know what? It's difficult to keep track of all of them at once.
Absolutely. At the front, though, Jason Cooper did exactly what he said. He waited until he came through down into Parabolica. I wonder, Tom Griffiths, he tries to go on the outside. Oh, it's going to be 3 wide going into the hairpin. Managed to keep it all in check. Ben Sharp tries to cut. That might be a bit scary. He might have got a slowdown. I don't think he has. He hasn't backed off yet. Good stuff. Again, very, very close. Let's go back quickly to what's happening with this train and gaggle of cars here. Casper de Court still leading. Adam Smith. Sam Smith has actually just got past Adam Delmont, Adam McNally, Craig McDonald, Michael Seal, James Clark, Frank Vestner, James Neve, Sean Campbell are all within about 2 seconds of this battle. Realistically,
Sharp and Griffiths side by side up in front as well. I think Griffiths and Sharp have just sorted themselves out, but Ben Sharp will have a run here potentially into the next corner. You can see he's close now, the gap under 1/10 of a second. This is for 3rd place. I was saying, what could Tom Griffiths do? And he's absolutely snatched at this chance and grabbed 2nd place. That was an amazing move, wasn't it, to make it 3 wide into the hairpin on the last lap. And look at Ben Sharp. He's trying to find a way through, can't manage it. Up at the front, he's going for a switchback maneuver. Tom Griffiths will afford him the space and hope that the inside line through the final couple of corners will be enough. Ben Sharp sending it around the outside. Whoa, is he going to be able to find a position through, trying to run out of the corner? No, he doesn't. So Jason Cooper comes through and takes the race victory for the first race of the evening here at the Hockenheimring. Tom Griffiths, on his return, snatches a second place from Ben Sharp, who finishes third. What a race that was up in front, and throw all of the carnage down for fourth place. Casper de Court comes out on top into fourth. So that's been a great effort from himself as well. And now we'll be able to just have a look at some action further back on this final lap. This was Michael Seal. Oh, and what happened there? Because Sam Smith had a bit of a moment. Oh, Michael Seal collecting. Oh dear, that was Michael Seal having a bit of a moment, shall we say, with the number 85 of Craig McDonald. This was Sam Smith. Oh, very loose coming out of there. Does he get it stopped in time? Is there contact when he rejoins? I don't think there was.
Let's just have a quick look at that again. So he does go off, then we'll spin the wheel. I think he does get it stopped. If anything, it's going to be a bit tight. Whoa-hey! Thread the needle. There we go, Sam Smith. That's a move I don't think that he wanted to have made either. That is it. Race over, done and dusted. Before we do get any further, though, let us do what we normally do and let us spin the wheel for what it is going to be. I mean, again, I'm not going to say anything. All we need to do, we need to spin it, and then we need to see what it comes out as. We need to do this relatively sharpish so we can give the grid, we can actually give this position to the organisers. They can sort it out. It's not going to be a full, but it's going to be a top 13. So believe, as provisional places stand, that will put Nick Clibbens on the top step of the grid for the reverse, or race 2.
Yeah, so a 30 reverse grid. Unlucky for some, but not for Nick Clibbens, who comes through to obviously take reverse grid pole. Provisionally, though, you never know if he's going to be having to serve a penalty from last round, starting from the pit lane in race 2. That could certainly be the case. Because so Jason Cooper wins the race by a margin of a second, but that was not the margin of competition. They were nose to tail all throughout there. Tom Griffiths, though, good effort from himself to snatch a second place from Ben Sharp. Finishes in third place, rounds out the overall podium with Casper de Court finishing fourth. Adam Delmont takes top honours in the Pro-Am class, but with consistent drivers like this that he's been showing, I would expect him to be moved up before too long. Ahead of Adam McNally, his Excite iRacing teammate. Frank Vestner, second in the Pro-Am, seventh overall, ahead of James Neve and Sam Smith, who's ninth, but third overall, completes the Pro-Am podium with Andy Thompson completing the top 10. Shane Piggott is 11th, ahead of Nick Clibbens, and it's Lars Fischer, 13th place, who will be on reverse grid pole position for 5-Star Motorsport. So expect to see him at the front of the grid for the second race. Craig Cockrell there, 14th for him, and Harley Moss was able to convert his fastest time in the qualifying session in the AM class into an AM class victory. 15th place for him. Glenn Humberston there, second place in the AMs, 16th overall, ahead of Craig McDonald and Jamie Gulliford. Unfortunately, Craig McDonald involved in that last lap contact. Then we'll go down to the next page. 19th place, see Julian Schroer finishing ahead of Duncan Cope. Douglas Stewart, 21st, ahead of Gareth Hickling. Andy McEwen, 23rd, ahead of Simon Robson, who completes the AM class podium, ahead of Fiona Siddons, Sean Campbell, James Clark, and Brian Stewart. And 29th place, just behind Brian Stewart, will be Michael Seal, and he is last of the drivers to score points because finishing 5 laps down or more. Ashley Stimpson, Renato Campana, Lee Holmes, Luke Cooper, Liam Simpson, Matt Oliver, and Ryan Main, all not scoring points this evening, unfortunately, for this first race. But there are plenty more chances for drivers to try and claw back some points. The 13 reverse grid, that does shake up the order and mean that we'll be treated to another excellent fight, because that was about, well, those 13 cars, those top 13 were all squabbling for positions, weren't they, right at the end? That battle for fourth was really something, and you know what? We could be treated to that for the second all throughout the field.
Absolutely. I mean, again, good racing as we have always seen. Fantastic stuff. Really, really excited to watch the next race, especially with that reverse grid. It's not too big, it's not too small. It's just about right, I think, for something of this sort of circuit. We do have obviously 2 other races that will be after that, so we can hopefully we'll see a slightly bigger grid reverse later on. We are going to take a few minutes break though while we get the race number 2 ready. So it will be around 7 minutes or so, and then we'll be back for the race number 2 of round 2, the BSR SIM3D MX5 Jovi. Stick around.
Everybody, and welcome back to Absolute Sim Racing, and we are here for the second race of the evening here at the Hockenheimring. A 13 reverse grid was drawn up last time, just 8 minutes ago, and that means that we will be seeing Lars Fischer, I believe, starting from reverse grid, pole position, the 107 for 5-Star Motorsports. We're trying to snatch another race victory after his teammate Jason Cooper took a rather storming victory. He got the fastest lap in qualifying, did Jason, and he's been carrying on as he's been showing his pace all evening so far. But as we come towards the tail end of the warm-up session, we do now look forward, don't we, Dan, to this second race of the evening. You know what? I'll let you do the honours of running through the grid.
Thank you very much, Ed. Indeed, the grid will be up in a few moments, and then we will be going through, getting ready to go for that all-important race 2 of the first reverse grid. It will come up in a few moments, and then we will be good to go. There is a furiously flag waving, and the grid now comes up. Adam Delmont, apparently that is not the actual grid. Apologies, we're going to bring that up now in a second. There we go, Lars Fischer, Nick Clibbens, Shane Piggott, Andy Thompson, Sam Smith, James Neve, Frank Vestner, Adam McNally, Adam Delmont, and Casper de Court round out your top 10 for this second race. Ben Sharp, P11 with Tom Grievous in P12. Jason Cooper takes P13 with Craig Cockrell in 14th. Harley Moss, P15 with Glenn Humberstone in the number 88, in the 88 Tech car in 16th. Craig McDonald, P17, Jamie Gilliford, P18 with Julian Schoer, 19th, and Duncan Cope rounding out the top 20. Douglas Stewart for Team Gonzo Racing, the number 79 in P21. Gareth Hickling in 22nd, Annie McEwen, 23, and Simon Robson in P24. Fiona Siddons, P25, Sean Campbell, 26th, James Clark, Brian Stewart, Michael Seal, Archie Stimpson, Renato Campana, Lee Holmes, Luke Cooper, Liam Simpson, Mark Oliver, and Ryan Main are your full grid. That is a mouthful to do in an entire minute, but we manage to get it going nevertheless. Lights are coming on. Who is going to take the top 7? You can actually see them queuing all the way through down into the last corner. So it's going to be a bit tricky. Lights out and away we go. A very, very quick start. Did not hold them long at all. Someone's actually already off. Couldn't quite see who that was. I wonder if it's Ryan Stewart that's already jumped to the pit. Anyway, someone didn't get going. Shane Piggott's actually got a very, very good run straight away. He's going to try and go on the outside of Andy Thompson. That is brave. That's very, very brave. Nick Clibbens, Lars Fischer are both pulling away strong. There's about 7/10 between them. Again, side by side coming down now between Shane Piggott and Andy Thompson. That is the battle to watch out for. It's the closest battle we've got at the front at the moment. Behind Sam Smith and Andy Thompson are also going side by side. Still side by side as they go through turn 3. Manages now to all settle in. Bit of a wiggle there. Couldn't quite see who that was. May have been Adam Delmont in the 777 who had a small little wiggle through there. Now as they all come down, this is a position you don't want to be in front. You don't want to be right at the front because you won't then have a toe. We can see that with Lars Fischer and Nick Clibbens. They all now will start concertinaing up. You've got to make sure you get your braking point nice and aggressive. Adam McNally tries to go through as a bit of bumping. That's the concertina effect. You can see there Adam McNally is going to try and get the inside of Ben Sharp. Can't quite make it through at this moment in time. A couple of positions a little bit further down. Casper de Court, Andy Thompson, I think have had a small excursion on the exit of the hairpin, which we have seen normally. And that is absolutely fine. You don't technically lose any time. You will just gain an off-track 3 wide going in. Adam McNally is just wedged in the middle of it. Oh, that's a spin. That's a big spin. Ben Sharp, Casper de Court, and I think that Sam Smith as well all got caught up in that. Ben Sharp has got some big, big damage on the front right and front left of that car. You can see the bonnet, the front bumper, everything is all pushed up. Unfortunately, that is him done and dusted, I think, for this race. Such a shame at the early part of this race. Fiona Siddons, Michael Seal, and Jamie Gilliford all involved in incidents as well. We're going to see some replays, I'm sure, of that. Craig Cockrell is going round the outside again, the mid-pack as well. Better for P10. Cockrell and Craig McDonald, the two Craigs battling. Bit of a tap as they go through. Manage to now slot into single file. And unfortunately, it is Craig Cockrell that's going to lose out on position. When he lost the position to McDonald, might even lose a position to Glenn Humberstone. Doesn't quite seem that is the case. So let's see if we can get some replays sorted. Actually, Glenn Humberstone's gone round. Glenn Humberstone has gone round. Wonder if he tapped the curb on the outside. I think he may have done. Cold tyres. You've got to be careful. You really, really do have to be careful, because if it doesn't, well, that's what happens if you're a little bit too aggressive, especially when your tyres aren't fully up to operating temperature. Harley Moss currently leading in the AM category, a couple of seconds away from Simon Robson, so he's got a good bit of a battle here, but he's trying to make a move up the inside of Julian Schroer. And you know what? I think he's gone and done it. Actually, Julian Schroer is now coming back on him. So, Julian Schroer makes that move back past, possibly, no, actually, a drag race down going into turn 5 as they go through Parabolica. Oh, Ed, lots of action, lots of battling, exactly what we like to see.
So much has been going on. It's still carrying on. Frank Vestner tries to hold it around the outside of the 777, but Adam Delmont goes through into 4th position. Frank Vestner there, the 333 Team Godzilla Racer hits the 777 from Excite Racing's Adam Delmont. But again, we've seen a breakaway pack. 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, all streaking away, and it's this train for 4th once more battling together. And again, Adam Delmont is right up there in the forefront, but this time he's got a little bit of help actually in the form of his teammate Adam McNally, who's going to try and sweep on through, try and take the position from Frank Vestner, getting into 5th position. Do you know what? He's going to do it as well. Great move down the inside, coming into the arena section. Just see as well behind Jason Cooper is looking very racy. He's going to snatch at a chance to go down the inside, grabs it with both hands and powers out nicely. And the inside will then become the outside, but I think he's actually already got the move. Is he kind of carrying off speed through and hold on to the position? Yes, he is. So Jason Cooper now up into 6th. What a charge through the field he has been having.
7 positions made up already for Jason Cooper. Sean Campbell and Andy McEwen having a bit of a battle a bit further down the field for P27. The gap is around about 3/10 at the moment. I love that Texie fits the Athena car. It looks absolutely fantastic. As well as the Year 1 TV car. Looks absolutely stunning as always. Sponsored by Meters Headphones, I believe. And that's a company that Mark Gooday's company, who I've known for a little bit of time. Really sound chap. So if you want some headphones, I would highly recommend Meters. I've got a pair myself. Absolutely fantastic. Do go and check them out. So at this moment in time, Andy McEwen is maintaining that gap. There's no positions, no moves happening from Sean Campbell's side at this moment in time. Simon Robson's being pressured by Sam Smith, obviously after his early incident. You can see there's damage on the front of the car, so that will be costing him a bit of time. He's bumping a little bit on the back of Simon Robson. The teammates coming down. It's going to be a very, very late send for Sam Smith. Not much of a defence from Simon Robson there. He actually has to back out of it because Sam Smith cuts across him on the exit there. Naturally, as that was always going to happen. Yeah, it may have, as you say, it may have been coordinated. You are absolutely right. Jason Cooper, 5-star motorsport, now goes up the inside of Adam McNally. There's another position for him. Another position move and another position further up the field. He's now made 8 positions. Got 4 more. And then he'll be back where he finished for race 1. It's not over yet, though. A lot can happen. We have seen as he's got around about half a second between himself and Adam Delmont. You can just see ahead of him in the Excite car, the number 777. So it may only be, again, with the pace that Jason Cooper had, it may only be a matter of time. But again, we really don't know. James Clark's actually just got past Gareth Hickling. You can see it up through the inside going into the stadium section. 3 wheels there through Gareth Hickling as well. So one problem if you go on the curb too much, you will just lift that front of the car up. You'll lose a bit of, you'll actually use quite a bit of steering, to be fair, through there. Not ideal what you want when you're still having to turn. But no harm, no foul. Gareth Hickling continues to move in the number 179. Pretty calm, and while there are moves happening, there's no hyper-aggressive moves at this moment in time, is there, Ed, really?
No, not particularly at this moment in time, but you can see that might start to change, especially, I think, between Jason Cooper and Adam Delmont that we're going to see hot up. Here's the move, though, between Glenn Humberston. This is into the final corner, just loses the rear of the car. I think gets a little bit of a tag around as well by the 97, but there's nothing that Harley Moss could have done to avoid contact. It was right in front of him. This is Sean Campbell, I believe, having a moment.
Yeah, just on the curb. Never going to work, unfortunately. Especially
and it was hotting up as well between Jason Cooper and Adam Delmont. You can see those positions have swapped around.
See if we can get the replay for that as well. We might be able to. Sean Campbell has indeed passed Andy McEwen a little bit further down the field that we are being told. But Adam McNally Still fending off at this moment in time Tom Griffiths, but Tom Griffiths gets a very, very good run. Really, really good line. Has to go on the outside, though, unfortunately. Not going to be a move there because Adam McNally cuts it off. He drives the car through. He's got good momentum, but straight away Tom Griffiths goes on the inside, on the charge. They're going to go side by side down now into the stadium section. It's very, very close between the two. Adam McNally has just changed over on your timing tab. It might not be for long. Because, actually, yeah, there we are. And Minali breaks a little bit later. I wonder if Frank Vester's going to have a bit of a look up around possibly the inside, then the outside of Tom Griffiths. No moves yet for the Team Conzo Racing number 333. So Tom Griffith still continues. Tried to make a move, didn't quite make it work, but credit for trying though. Fantastic stuff indeed. And again, battles up and down the field as we have seen all of the time. Brian Stewart's had a bit of a moment. He's now back on track and moving. But one of the other battles, it's not quite a battle yet, I don't think, but it's probably not far off. Actually, two of the ones, we've got Douglas Stewart, Lee Holmes, and then we've got Sam Smith, Simon Robson, and then a little bit further down, Ryan Main and James Neve as well. So lots of battles going on, which we'll go to those in a few moments, but this is another one that I really want to sit on just as they come through, down through Parabolica, and then into turn 5 this time around. I wonder if it's going to have Frank Vester's got front row seats here between Tom Griffiths and Adam McNally. Tom Griffiths is going to have the advantage. He's going to have the inside. Frank Vester's interesting because he's going to try and follow. If I were him, I'd try and go on the outside and try and get the cutback and get both of them. But, oh, no. Unfortunately, to be fair, no. While there was contact, nothing really changed. So if anything, Tom Griffiths benefited out of that because he's now pulled a 4/10 of a second gap.
Jason Cooper, meanwhile, has been reading in those front three, but I don't know if he'll be able to catch in time come the end of the race, as Craig McDonald, I think, has just gotten ahead of Frank Vester, and then those two are fighting together. Look, you can see Craig McDonald, he tried to get in front, but lost that, unfortunately. So Frank Vester stays ahead for the moment. Look at that. Just the cars blitzing by as Julian Schroer, he's had a moment, and that was into turn 7, I believe. So what has happened here for the 14 Gonzo driver? Backs off a little bit, goes into the corner. Oh, does he just hit to the curb too much? Yes, he does. Loses control one way, then the other. Unfortunately, ends up in the runoff area, but thankfully doesn't collect any of the other cars. And you can see Andy McEwen actually right up behind that Sean Campbell. So we're going to be able to see the number 4 Andy try and find a way through if he can, but you're into this final sector where it is very difficult to make a passing move. Got to try and psych a driver out long in advance if you want to line up a move into one of these corners. Instead, maybe plan for a run down these long flat out sections. Look at that, Andy McEwen gets a little bit of a touch on the exit curb of the second to last corner, and so has the car, but he collects it nicely. Means he loses a bit of time though to those ahead and drops back. Meanwhile, Glenn Humberston and Ryan Main battling together, and Humberston has now just got ahead of the other Year 1 racing driver.
Indeed, as you are absolutely correct. So Julian Humberston in the 88 Tech car has got past Ryan Main, but is it going to be a possible cutback? Ryan Main tries to have a look go through turn 2. Nothing yet, but he is now going to have the run. Let's have a quick look at the Glenn Humberstone pass, actually what happened, then we'll go back onto a live. I was a bit cheeky around the outside, but if he didn't get a penalty, then he didn't get a penalty. So that is all well and good, but Ryan Main can't quite seem to have that pace. He hasn't got the pace to try and get the move back at this moment in time. Andy McEwen, though, it's going to be Andy McEwen, Sean Campbell, Julian Schroer going to go 3 wide as they go through. Sean Campbell's got the ideal position, but look at that textbook switch back there from Julian Schroer, and there's now going to be absolutely side by side from both Sean Campbell, Julian Schroer, but Andy McEwen, he's got a very, very good cutback as well. He's going to do both of them coming down into the second half of the lap. Look at that, textbook stuff from Andy McEwen. Didn't even see him until the very, very last minute, and look at that, he's already pulled a 3/10 of a second gap. Very, very clean, controlled, and timed it absolutely perfectly. Did Andy McEwen. That was great stuff to watch. And like I said, it caught me off guard. I don't know about you, Ed, but he definitely caught me off guard there.
Absolutely sending it, wasn't he? So now he's going to try and maybe break away a little bit through this final sector, get maybe half a second advantage if he can to Sean Campbell, and maybe look to catch on to his teammate up in front. Look at this, though. Speaking of up in front, Fisher, Clibbins, Piggott. But look who's arriving on the scene. 1.5 seconds back. Jason Cooper could still take a race victory here. He's been able to make up nearly a 4-second deficit when he took 4th place, and has got that down to a very, very workable and definitely beatable 1.6 seconds. And of course, when you get into on a track like this, about 1.8 seconds, 1.5 seconds, you do find a little bit of slipstream coming your way, which is allowing him to break away just a touch from Adam Delmont. Means that Delmont can't challenge into this hairpin as close as he was. This could be a great second race victory of the evening from Jason if he can get this together. I'm not sure though if Lars Fischer is going to want to fight this or not, because this could be Lars's first real chance of a race victory as well, you know.
Might very well be. We're going to have to see. This was Sam Smith passing. That is, I believe, Douglas Stewart. Yes, that was a pass there. Simon Robson has had a bit of a moment. I want to see if we can tag onto the back of him. He is going now, so couldn't quite see what happened there, to be honest. Again, we'll have to see if we can pick that up a little bit later with a possible replay. Not long left to go. It will be one more lap after this. And I tell you what, it's going to be a very, very tall order for Jason Cooper to catch up. The gap is 1.4 seconds as it stands. So it's essentially going to have to be 1.4 seconds plus 2 passes going through into there. You can just see Jason Cooper on the back there. What he needs is both Fisher, Clibbins and Piggott to all have a battle. This is the last. The white flag is being waved, as you can see in the left-hand side of your screen. This is it. This is going to be possibly Lars Fischer's first ever race win in the BSR Championship for the number 5 Start Motorsport driver, the 107. Is it going to be his day? We will have to wait and see. Only 2 corners have gone, bear in mind. At the moment, he is pulling away a little bit from Nick Clibbins, but this is where he loses out. Jason Cooper's pulled out another 2/10. That is not going to be enough at the rate he's going. He needs to pull out at least 3/10 before he gets halfway round. Then that will leave him at least an opportunity to try and overtake. We haven't necessarily seen the back to last the first challenge from Jason Cooper that we normally see. He has got a very, very good amount of pace. Not quite as much of a disparity between the drivers as we have seen. But this is it. Lars Fischer, Nick Clibbins is going to have to look round the outside, makes him go the long way round. Let's have a look at Shane Piggott though, because he wants to have a bit of a moment. This may be playing into the hands of Cooper. Let us not count him out. The gap is 1.1 seconds now. It's coming down more and more and more. And we'll have to see if there is going to be any more. Nick Clibbins, is he going to dart out? He does indeed. He darts out. Has to go the long way round again because Lars Fischer takes the defensive line. This will all be costing him time. Jason Cooper, the gap is now 0.8 of a second. Let's not count that. We've got Delmont Griffiths, McNally McDonald all the way down there as well. Nothing is out of the question. We saw that on round 1. Nothing is out of the question here. And also we saw that in the finale of the last season as well. Half a lap to go, Ed. And then we're going to see if Lars Fischer can maintain. Actually, less than half a lap to go. 3 corners left to go. And we're going to see if Lars Fischer can take his first win.
Yeah, he's only got a few more to go. And Lars Fischer, if he can get through these nice and safely without incident, you can see he's built that margin back out again. Very strong through these final couple of corners. It will be Lars Fischer. As I say that, look at how close Nick Clibbins get, but he isn't close enough to take away Lars Fischer's first race victory in the VSR SIM3D trophy. What a race victory that is. And it is now 5-Star Motorsport. They've taken both race victories so far. Jason Cooper taking the first. Lars Fischer taking the second. All that's left now is for Casper de Kort to come through and take the next one. And it will be each of these 5-Star Motorsport drivers coming through to take a race victory. And bear in mind, there is a team championship as well. They are looking likely to come away with definitely at least something come the end of this season in that regards. Cracking drive though as well by Adam Delmont, the 777, who took the Pro-Am class victory in 5th position. Then AMS again, fastest of the AMS, Harley Moss, 13th place for him. So very, very good effort from himself. But as all of the drivers have come through, I believe you can spin the reverse grid wheel.
Indeed, let us spin that. We'll get that all sorted and ready. And then we will see who is going to be and what the reverse grid is going to be for race number 3. And as it goes through, that's a better one. Top 25. A top 25 reverse grid. So that's a good 2/3 of the field here. It's not a full reverse grid, but it's a good chunk, which is exactly what we like to see. That is provisionally, I think, Julian Schroer that's going to take that pole position reverse. It might change possibly. Again, we had that a little bit in the first race between the first and second, so we'll have to see if that does change. In a few moments, though, we are going to be running you through the race results, but top 25 reverse grid. So a bit of a spread. Normally, I think it was the first round, wasn't it, Ed, where we had, I think it was 3 full reverse grids, I think. At Catalonia, I think it was round 3, I believe.
I think you might be right there. Yeah, it was definitely a entertaining race there, and I'm looking forward to seeing who is it that comes out on top this time. You can run us through who's on reverse grid pole position.
Well, here we go. Lars Fischer, the 5-star Motorsport first win, the number 107 driver. Fantastic stuff indeed. Nick Clibbons, half a second behind. 0.140 behind in P2. Shane Piggott in P3 with Jason Cooper. Very, very close, but no cigar for the other 5-star Motorsport driver in P4. Adam Delbert rounds out your top 5 with Tom Griffiths, Adam McNally, Frank Vestner, Craig McDonald, Craig Cockrell in your top 10 finishing order. James Clark comes home in P11 with Lee Holmes in P12. Harley Moss 13th, Sam Smith 14th with Douglas Stewart in P15. 16th saw Simon Robson come across the line in the SimTech Pro-Am car. Gareth Hicklin, the number 179 privateer in P17 with Ashley Stimpson in the SimTech Pro-Am 888 comes home in P18. We then have Andy Thompson in P19, James Neve 20th, Ryan Main 21st, Sean Campbell in P22, Andy McEwen 23rd, Glenn Humberstone P24, Julian Schroer in P25, Casper McCourt 26th, Duncan Cope 27th, and Renato Campana in P28. The other 2 drivers to finish on that will be scoring points finishing positions will be Brian Stewart and Luke Cooper. Everyone else, so Liam Stinson, Fiona Siddons, Michael Seal, Jamie Gilliford, Mark Oliver, and Ben Sharp will not be taking points for race number 2 because they were not finished. They did not finish on the lead lap.
Yes, and that means the top 25 reverse grid goes the way of Julian Schroer, if I am right in thinking it was the 25 that was pulled, and Julian Schroer is going to be starting on the front row with Glenn Humberston alongside him. Andy McEwen's going to be grateful because he started the first 2 races from the pit lane, and this is his chance to really take something from it.
Absolutely. I think we'll just have to see what's going to happen. Andy McEwen hasn't had the best of starts to this race. We are halfway through those, so I'm hoping, as you say, Andy McEwen's luck will turn now, and he'll be feeling a bit more confident going into the 3rd race. But again, time will tell. We really don't know at this moment in time until the flag drops, and then we'll see what happens. We're going to take another very, very short break for around the next 6 or 7 minutes. We will be back as soon as possible to bring you race number 3 of round 2 of the BSR SIM3D MX5 trophy. Make sure you stick around, and always, if you haven't already, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It helps you out. It helps us out more than you know. We'll see you in a few moments.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Absolute Sim Racing. What a race. We have been treated to the first race. The second race did not disappoint, and it set up a 25 reverse grid for this third race of the evening. We're already at the halfway point of the evening. My word, doesn't time fly when you've got the SIM3D, BSR, MX5 Mazdas to chat over, isn't it? Dan, a great series with some great racing means that we're on track for another great season.
Certainly we are indeed. Round 2 is not disappointed. As you say, we're already halfway through. And yes, time flies when you're having fun, as they say. And we are having a hell of a lot of fun watching around, 35 cars absolutely send it around a place like Hockenheim. It's a big track for a very, very small little car. But the drivers of the BSR MX5 trophy are really making it enjoyable to watch. It's the one thing you do run into. It's a little bit strange. It can be a little bit tricky if you're not too careful. With big tracks, small cars don't tend to work. But as I said, these guys have got it absolutely nailed. Here is the grid going through for your third race. Julian Schroer, Glenn Humberstone, Annie McEwen, Sean Campbell, Ryan Main, James Neve, Annie Thompson, Ashley Stimpson, Gareth Hickling, and Simon Robson round out your top 10. And then a little bit further down, Douglas Stewart, Sam Smith, that is Harley Moss, Lee Holmes, James Clark, Craig Cockrell, Craig McDonald, Frank Vestner, Adam McNally, Tom Griffiths, Adam Delmont, Jason Cooper, Shane Piggott, Nick Clibbens. Halfway through, Shane Piggott, Nick Clibbens. We then have Lars Fisher in P25, Casper DeCourt 26, Duncan Cope 27, Renato Campana, Brian Stewart, Luke Cooper, Fiona Siddons, Michael Seal, Mark Oliver, and Ben Sharp are your current grid. Apologies, we do have to run through them relatively quickly, as Ed knows. That is something that we've got to be a little bit careful of. We don't want to make sure that we don't miss the race.
So, green flag comes through now. The race gets underway. They catch us out, don't they? They got through this very quickly. Julian Schroer, good start off of the line into the first corner. He goes through, as does Glenn Humberston. Andy McEwen slots in behind, as does Sean Campbell, who has a great run now into turn 2, looking for a move on. Andy McEwen himself is looking now to try and take second place. Hard on the brakes down the inside of Glenn Humberston goes Andy McEwen. So does Sean Campbell, snatches at the chance to go up into third. Looks around the outside of Andy McEwen. Look at this though, Ryan Main wheel to wheel with Andy Thompson through the parabolica. Look at all these MX5s go 3 wide in the background. 3 wide between Simon Robson and Lee Holmes. Lee Holmes just with his nose in front, but into now the hairpin. For the first time of us in this third race of the evening. Look at all these MX5s battling for position. They do appear to be 3 wide in the background with these 2 Excite cars in the mix. Whoa, and as I say in the mix, they get mixed up with the 333 of Frank Vestner. I'm not sure who that was. That could have been Adam McNally, I think, who had a little bit of contact on the exit of the hairpin. But thankfully it was just those 2 coming together. No further incidents between any other cars, so it's all through nice and safe. And it's close all throughout the field here. Look at that. Yeah, Craig McDonald, cold tires, but still able to keep his car ahead of Douglas Stewart. Plume of smoke in the background, but I think most of the cars are still facing the right direction, so we'll follow through. Oh, look at Craig McDonald. Very loose at the rear. Is he going to lose out to Simon Robson, or is he going to send it down the inside? He's going to go for it. Get out the power as early as he can, but is kept narrow by the Simtech Racing number 17. The driver doing very good is Simon. You know what? He takes that position, but Craig McDonald fights him back. Brilliant stuff. Muscles his way through. I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. Great stuff from Craig McDonald. And meanwhile, further in front, Andy McEwen has taken the race lead.
Andy McEwen has indeed taken the race lead. We'll see where that was. Luke Cooper's actually just had a moment on the last corner. Not good at all. We just saw a puff of smoke, and I believe that was why Lee Holmes is going to now possibly lose a position. Gareth Hickling, Ryan Main are having a bit of a battle a bit further down. Is he literally just behind? And you've got Craig McDonald having to go on the defensive from Simon Robson. Gareth Hickling and some Roger. Whoa, bit of contact there. getting sent up on 2 as is Ryan. Now, that isn't necessarily a physics glitch. That genuinely does happen. You see it in Formula 1. You see it more so in open-wheel cars, but it can happen if you're not too careful in GT cars as well, or what would be classed as GT saloon-type-esque cars that are proper, full-bodied cars. But it's more prone to happen in open wheel. Again, just everyone's trying to find some space on the track, and there is not a lot to go around. At Hockenheim, there's not exactly a small circuit, but at the same time, people are still trying to struggle to find some space. We see that Sam Smith, Douglas Stewart both went off. That's cost them a little bit of time. And someone's still off. That's, I believe, that might even be Adam Delmont that's had a small excursion making up his own track there. Ryan May, Jason Cooper working his way through once again. He's already up 9 positions, but Craig Cockrell's already up 4 as well. Oh, who was that sending? Ryan May was sending. I think that was Craig Cockrell. To be fair, sending him down into going into this final sort of complex of the lap. Mark Oliver, Julian Schroer's had an incident as well. Jason Cooper is actually now up 11 positions, already made up into P11, having made up 11 positions. He's now got a massive train behind him. One of them is Casper de Court and Ryan Main having a good side-by-side battle again. Casper de Court isn't backing out, neither is Ryan Main. One of them's going to have to do it eventually, unless they're going to drive the entire rest of the race side by side. No, Casper de Court does make that move stick in the end. Getting quite close to the back of Sam Smith already. Douglas Stewart, Michael Seal, big incident, I think, from Michael Seals. Had a big off. Look at that, what has happened there. So we can get an instant replay of that going on. Is it just, again, Douglas Stewart just got tapped as well, I think, by one of the Swift Cooper esports cars. May have been Luke Cooper that he got tagged with. Bit of a shame there. It's very easy to do, especially, again, when you're in a gaggle of cars like that. It's easily done. At the front one, nearer the front, this isn't even near the front, this is P12 at the moment, and the battling is just continuing. Pepper smoke there. Who was that? Andy Thompson. Oh no, Andy Thompson having a big moment at the exit of turn 2. Not ideal for him. That was something that he will definitely not be wanting. Ed, I mean, in your position, from your position, I don't know what I would do if I was here.
This is amazing stuff. If I was that number 11 of Tom Griffiths, I would just send it through. You've boxed in one of these SimTech racing cars, you might as well go for it. Send it. He does. Great stuff. You can see him just on the inside. Is he going to get both those cars in one move? You know what? I think he does. He's going to try and muscle his way through, get ahead. Yes, he does. Of Craig Cockrell and Sam Smith. So, Craig Cockrell just pushing him along. That was a great little move by Tom Griffiths, and he's going to hold on. Now the number 11 into 11th place. There's a checkup, and all of a sudden, cars slow each other down quite a lot. And all the SimTech cars, there they go, 3 wide into the next corner. Great shot for the social medias, but maybe not for their prospects. This race getting crossed up with one another. They want to try and work together rather than battle, because you can see Shane Piggott taking advantage of this down the inside. Is going to take 15th place, maybe even 14th, as he's battling with Craig Cockrell, trying to go around the outside. And he's going to take it. He's going to power out nicely on the exit and then get the inside for the next couple of corners. Shane Piggott coming through nicely on his run through, taking advantage. And all of a sudden, yep, it's going bad to us for SimTech, because they lose another place. This time to, I believe that was Adam McNally.
Indeed they do. Lee Holmes further up the field is going to have up the inside of Ashley Simpson. There we go. Move done and dusted for Ashley Simpson. Gets a very good run. Move done and dusted for Lee Holmes. Gets a very good run on the exit of turn 1. That's going to give him a good run going down now into turn 2 as well. So that's a position for the 88 Tech number 35 done and dusted. We're going to have to see if that position will be held. But at the moment, the gap is what now, 0.4 of a second. So it may very well be, even though Ashley Simpson will now have the run. So will Glenn Humberstone. I wonder if we're going to see a move from Humberstone at the moment. We might do, we might not. It does depend. Thank you everyone for the comments as well on YouTube. We're seeing it. Someone, we say that we got BRM SimTech Racing saying awesome coverage, better than watching F1. So thank you very much there. Very much appreciated.
Oh, Glenn Humberstone, look at him go. He's going to try and take them both in one move. Sorry to cut across you there, but that was amazing stuff. And there's a spin in the background, and there's definitely a Shane Piggott with a battered and bruised front to his car. We'll see, this is quite a way back. So is there a spin that he collects, or does he just outbrake himself? Coming into the hairpin, everything seems all right. Oh, there's a massive checkup. There is a spin that everyone breaks hard to avoid. Shane Piggott goes through, doesn't anticipate the sudden stop. Big damage to the front of his car, and not a power-driven circuit like this one. Damage to the front means damage to your straight line speed, and huge harm to your prospects in the race because, of course, the best chance of a move is to take advantage of that straight line speed into the hairpin, the heavy braking zone of turn 5. Jason Cooper being kept very honest by Lee Holmes, and this was the race pace that I was saying we were missing from Lee. We haven't seen it too much. Oh, a bit of argy-bargy with Jason Cooper muscling his way through. A bit of door banging, though. I don't think there's anything too untoward with that. Both fighting hard into the corner. Just Jason Cooper coming out on top on this occasion. But this is a very racy Lee Holmes, the kind of Lee that we love to see. He's performing brilliantly, definitely above the standards we'd expect from a pro-am driver. But he could be one of the drivers moving up after the 4th round, because that is when, of course, we do our reclassification of the classes. Drivers get moved across different divisions. Adam Delmont, number 14, or 14th place rather, in the 777. Again, down the inside of the number 9, Craig Cockrell. Is he going to be able to take this position? He's going to get it for the moment, but hasn't got anyone to slipstream off of, so we'll probably lose out on the run into the hairpin. We'll follow this battle through, though, because you can see as well the 333 of Frank Bestner trying to find a way through, maybe muscle into this fight as they come towards the braking zone now of turn 5. Adam Delmont around the outside, not able to go through. Is he going to be trying to make 3 wide? Oh, a little bit of a squeeze on the run into the corner. Throws Adam Delmont slightly off of his line. Frank Bestner tries to find a way through, doesn't quite manage it. Background Ryan Main, the 66, can't find a way through either. Lee Holmes now we come to, the other 88 Tech Racing driver, with just ahead of him, I believe that's Glenn Humberstone, which it is. Close fighting. Tom Griffiths, though, up into 8th place. Great stuff from him. As Jason Cooper, he's had a spin. Jason Cooper off the road, coming out of turn 8. What has happened here? So we're coming through the corner. He's battling with... Oh, is there a bit of contact? Oh, there is. Car up onto the air. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact between himself and Craig McDowell. That was him trying to fight through into 5th place. Wasn't able to take advantage of it. And last season champion. Is there damage now to that car? There is actually. Damage. You know what? There is damage to that left rear. The smallest of touches. Just a racing incident, but it's had a massive effect on his prospects. He can nurse it back to the pits. Maybe finish a lap down if he can come back out afterwards. But that's huge in terms of the championship if he doesn't score.
Absolutely massive, as you say. Very, very big consequences there. Not ideally, not what you want. I'm just having a look here. Let's have a look, because Fiona Siddons currently sitting in P3 in the in the AM category. Brian Stewart is only about 4/10 behind. There is Brian Stewart. Fiona Siddons goes a little bit wide. This is going to be a battle for the final step on the podium. Brian Stewart has a very good run going down into turn 2. Fiona Siddons tries to fight it, but at the same time has to... Whoa! Very, very late on the brakes. Round the outside. Go on. Very, very good move. Timed it very well as well. And knew, again, having... Straight away, you see confidence in the car. There is confidence in that car because you're able to really stamp on the brake pretty aggressively. And
speaking of confidence, actually, I've just seen Tom Griffiths up, battling hard with Craig McDonald. Up 15 places now is that number 11. We're just seeing, I think, Simon Robson take advantage of slow Stewart going down the inside. Look at this fight as well, as we see Casper de Court side by side with Adam McNally, but loses out into there. But still, great stuff from Casper to get ahead of Nick Clibbins. Close fighting all the way through here. And then we just come to a gaggle of MX5s, a whole gang of them fighting together through now turn 8 they go. I think settling the differences. There is a bit of contact we just hear on the run through turn 9, but I think they're all through that nice and safely. Just a little bit of door banging perhaps as they race hard. It could have been between Tom Griffiths and Craig McDonald. You know, Tom Griffiths wheel to wheel with Lee Holmes now. Able to just stay ahead into 6th position. Coming now through the final corner. Have they able to start? They haven't started the final lap, so this is the second to last lap. Andy McEwen still leading up ahead, but I've been noticing that gap coming down very close. Just the lap before, Campbell got that gap to less than 1/10 of a second, but Tom Griffiths, we're going to focus on him because he's got a run, got to try and take advantage of a slow Craig McDonald coming out of the first corner, down the inside, hard onto the brakes. Tom Griffiths takes 5th place and is now going to set his sights on Ashley Stimson. He gets a good run coming through turns 3 and 4. This long left hand of the Parabolica. I think I was going to look to the outside, but get hit by a huge wall of air. This is Andy McEwen and Campbell now battling together. McEwen just staying in front for the moment. Is Campbell just maybe lining up a move, playing with his food a little bit, do you think? Or has Andy McEwen got the better of Sean here?
Well, I don't know. We'll have to see how it turns out in a few moments' time. Again, Gareth Hickling, look at that in the Fanta. The privateer, the number 179, the privateer, very, very good move. Again, timed it very well. Didn't get sucked into the battle that was happening between Adam McNally and Casper de Court. And then also Nick Clivens as well that was trying to get involved there. So Gareth Hickling, very good stuff indeed. Timed it very, very well. Ashley Stimpson's going to go around the outside, possibly with Tom Griffiths. Don't know what has happened, unfortunately, to Lee Holmes. Lee Holmes has dropped down a couple of positions, but still very much there or thereabouts. In fact, you know what? He's going to try and go around up to the inside of Craig McDonald, and I think that's going to be a move possibly done and dusted. Ashley Stimpson has now broken. He's got a 4/10 gap away from himself and Tom Griffiths. That's going to be that hasn't quite worked out for him. Someone's got off the track. I can't see who that was. Might be Sam Smith that's had a bit of a moment. Craig McDonald and Lee Holmes again side by side as they come down into the penultimate sections. Lee Holmes instead takes that position. So Craig McDonald has to back out of it. 2/10 of a gap now is as they come on to the final lap of race number 3. Again, they've got to make sure that they time this right. And I wonder, as you were saying, and I think that's what Sean Campbell may be doing. This is the position where he's going to want to make that move stick. That was a big sideways moment for Lee Holmes. Manages to hold it. And you know what? They're both catching up with Liam Stimpson. With Ashley Stimpson even. So I wonder if this is going to be a move up the inside for Lee Holmes. Yes, it is indeed at the moment, but Ashley Stimpson doesn't give it up that easily. He's going to go side by side. He's got the inside for turn 3. Now it's a drag race down into turn 4 for the final time for race number 3.
Yes, look at this now, the final lap. Andy McEwen just able to stay in front. Campbell can't find a way past. James Neave is sitting in the back, ready to pick up the pieces. Should these two fight a little bit hard, maybe too hard. Campbell's got a great run, though, coming out of turn 5. McEwen has to defend this. Goes defensive. You can see he affords the inside through turn 6 to get... afford the inside in turn 6. They then get the inside into turn 7. He's going to have to carry a lot of speed through, and is he going to lose out? He might just do. Now through turn 7 and 8. Andy McEwen loses out. Campbell into the lead of the race at these final few moments, a crucial time of the race. Can Andy McEwen find a way back past? He's going to have to absolutely blitz it through the next corner and try and line up a move, but he can't do it. Campbell is going to take the race victory if he doesn't make any mistakes from here on out, because it's so difficult to find a way through in these final few corners. Wow, what a move from Sean Campbell. Got an excellent run out of turn 5 and set it up beautifully. Now through the final corner, and we will have a new race victor. Sean Campbell, as he rounds the final corner, greets the checkered flag and takes the race victory. What a drive that was from the American, just ahead of Andy McEwen, who I think will be gutted to miss out on the victory, but still second place. Very good stuff from him and brings his championship back on track. Craig Cockrell then, Simtech Pro, we can just see him right up behind 33 of Andy Thompson, finishing in 14th place. Actually, nothing to note as well, Ashley Stimpson. Great stuff from him in the Triple Eight, taking the AM class victory.
Indeed, I mean, Ashley Stimpson as well, very, very, had some very, very good race pace. So I think come round 4, there's definitely going to be some possible adjustments to Ashley Stimpson's category. The rate of the pace that Stimpson has currently got. Final few drivers making their way across the line. There is Luke Cooper. Unfortunately, not the best race for him. Currently in P27. Renato Campana, as he comes through with a wing mirror hanging off for good measure in the into the 000. And that is the Westech MX5. So all of the drivers have now come across the line. So we'll just be waiting for a few moments, and then we will get the wheel. Then we'll get the positions up. But let us get first off this spinning wheel for the very, very final race that we are going to have this time for round number 2. Here comes the spinning wheel. Is it going to be a full reverse grid? It might very well be. No. Instead, it's a very, very small reverse grid. It will now be P11, which I believe we will get confirmation on that in a few moments. But Adam Delmont, I believe, will be taking that reverse grid. Getting ready for the results to come up, and in fact, they are going to come up in a few. We're actually going to be able to get them up to you now, and it will be able to give you that final confirmation.
Yeah, hopefully with that 11 reverse grid. Good news for some, not so good news for others, though. Of course, Jason Cooper, involved in that incident earlier on, would have been hoping for a full reverse grid, maybe have a chance for drivers to lose out a little bit while he was able to gain back positions, but that wasn't the case. You can see now the confirmation. Sean Campbell takes his first race victory of the season for Texans Fitzy Athena, ahead of Andy McEwen. James Neve rounds out the podium from Athletes Logistics, ahead of Tom Griffiths, Craig McDonald, Lee Holmes, first and second in Pro, and fifth and sixth on the road overall. Adam Alley 7th, Ashley Stimpson taking the AM class victory inside the top 10 as well. A good 8th place finish for him. Casper DeCourt, 5-star Motorsport, finishes 9th ahead of Adam Delmont, and Frank Vestner with that 11th place finish will be starting on pole position for the 4th and final race of the evening. Andy Thompson narrowly misses out there in 12th place. That's where he'll be starting this final race here at Hockenheimring, ahead of 13th place Ryan Main, James Clark, Michael Seal, Gareth Hickling, Lars Fisher, and Julian Schroer in 18th place. Then we come down to 19th and see Duncan Cope finish ahead of Glenn Humberston, Ryan Stewart 21st, Simon Robson 22nd, ahead of Shane Piggott, Luke Cooper, Nick Clivens, Renato Campana, Craig Cockrell, and Fiona Siddons 28th place. And final few drivers that finished that race, run you through Douglas Stewart, Sam Smith, Harley Moss. Jason Cooper did finish that race, finished one lap down, but still scored some points, so not too catastrophic for his championship hopes, but will be starting all the way down the back. Mark Oliver 33rd, and I'll tell you what, if Jason Cooper was grateful that he didn't have a catastrophic blow to his championship hopes, Ben Sharp finishing 8 laps down, not scoring any points. That's going to be a big blow to his hopes this season. The driver that came into this really on the front foot has now been firmly pushed back. But, Dan, we do have a chance to speak to a driver. We do conduct post-race interviews all throughout the night if drivers fancy having a word with us, and we can bring in Mr. Andy McEwen to the comms box. Finished second place on the road and in the pro class. That was a bad race from you, was it? Close, but just missing out at the end. If you're there and if you can hear us. Oh, we'll try and bring in Andy once more. Hopefully you can hear us and we can hear you. Nope, not getting anything through at the moment, Dan, unfortunately, from Andy. So we might have to try again at another point later on in the evening.
Indeed, yes. We do also have Harley Moss as well, I believe, in the comms booth.
So we can bring in Harley Moss to the commentary box. Harley, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Good stuff, Harley. Yeah, that was a very good evening so far from you. Obviously, you took 2 AM class victories in race 1 and 2. How has it been so far for you?
Well, I mean, this evening's been great, obviously, apart from that last race. Don't really know what happened. I think someone in the last corner spun in front of me. Everyone checked off a bit, and I just gained a bit of engine damage by literally what felt like just a tap. But I couldn't even get into 4th gear. So I had to come in and pit and just do a minute or so of repairs. And by that point, the race was over. I just needed to finish to try and get some points on the board still.
Yeah, and it was a good effort for you to get some points on the board. Does that mean your focus might shift towards the AM Class Championship? I think you are currently AM Class leader so far.
I mean, I'm not looking at points in terms of championship this early on. but I am just to keep the team updated. But if the racing continues going the way it has the first 2 races this evening for the rest of the season, then no doubt I hope to be fighting for it towards the end.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously you're a relative newcomer to this BSI MX5 Mazda series. And how have you been enjoying the racing so far?
I mean, the racing is possibly the most competitive racing I've done all on my entire iRacing career. Been on this, I don't think what it's called, on the sim on and off for about 5 years or so now, and I've never had racing closer or more enjoyable, to be honest with you. I mean, last week was a bit of a bumper car fest at points, and was a bit of a bad week for me. But I've still come out with a few points and just looking to extend on what I've done the last 2 races, or the first 2 races this evening, sorry.
Yeah, well, we'll be definitely watching you try and come up through the field. Obviously, we'll be starting further back, but there's still a chance for you to gain some great points in the final race. But before we say goodbye to you and let you get ready for the next and final race of the evening, is there anybody you'd like to shout out here on Absolute Sim Racing?
Yeah, so obviously the team Sequential Sim Sport powered by Victor Esports. Or the names are Twitters to go and check us out if you want to. And I just want to give another massive shout out for this week, especially is to Ethan Davis Racing. He come into a practice session with me last night, gave me some one-to-one coaching in his free time, and it's definitely helped. Before he come in, I was running about 4 seconds off the pace, and now, by the looks of it tonight, I'm actually on pace for getting good results. So big credit to him for all the help he's done this week.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Harley. We wish you all the best for the final race of the evening.
Thank you guys. Enjoy and keep doing what you're doing.
So out to the comms box goes Harley Moss, and we can try and bring in, hopefully it's all sorted. Andy, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Hey. Computers, eh? I don't get on with them, do I?
No, you don't, but you seem to be getting on a little bit better in that third race in your MX5. How was that from you? Just narrowly missing out, but that was still a race you've got to be pleased with.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't. I wasn't very quick, to be honest, but I knew that Sean was going to get me on the last lap, and I knew there was naff all I could do about it, really. But honestly, the way my season started, I was happy just to see a checkered flag in one piece with no damage, and score some good points. It's been a bit. It's left a bit to be desired, hasn't it? These first few races.
A little bit topsy-turvy, but of course, you haven't been the only one suffering the bite of the opening few rounds. Of course, Jason Cooper had some difficulties, and Ben Sharp as well, struggling in that third race. So the championship is still wide open for the taking, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I didn't have a great start to last season. I still ended up second place. So, I'm not going to lose heart too much. And, Hockenheim was always going to be a track that I didn't really expect to do that well at, to be honest. So to have bagged a podium's pretty good. And yeah, just hope that this last race is another clean one, and bag a few more points if I can.
Yeah, and with an 11 reverse grid, you'll be starting 10th. Do you think you can have a charge up through the field from there?
I've had podiums having started 5th on the grid, and I've had podiums from 35th. I don't think it really matters where you start. It's all about surviving the first few corners. I mean, this track on cold tyres, as I'm sure you know, it's really, really slippery. So if you can get through the first lap, then that's when you can start thinking about maybe going for a win.
Yeah, were you using my lethal setup on that first lap? I know she's a bit of a handful at times.
Well, no, I, to be honest, it was too much of a handful even for me, and I like a loose car. I don't know how you hang on to that. So no, I'm running a good setup though. Actually, it's a lot better than the one I've used. I used the same setup for every race in the first 2 seasons that I did. I never changed it. So finally got a new one for this season, and getting on with it quite well.
I'll see how you can adapt and overcome this new setup in these next few rounds. And of course, best of luck, mate, for the 4th race of the evening. Before we say goodbye to you, anyone you want to give a shout out to here on the broadcast?
Oh, blimey. I would like to give a shout out to my next door neighbour, who is not watching and doesn't have any interest whatsoever in this, but I feel like I should give them a mention because they can usually hear me shouting in my office. They can probably hear me through the walls when things aren't going very well. So a shout out and apology to my neighbours.
I like every time we ask if you got anyone for a shout. It still catches you off guard every time we do it, and every time you get surprised.
One day I will run out of stupid things to give a shout out to you, but today wasn't that day, thankfully.
Day wasn't the day. We'll certainly see when that day comes. But thank you, Andy. We'll let you get into the next race session. Best of luck.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
So, Dan, we let Andy go to the next race, and I think it's time for us to go as well. So, we'll be back in about a few minutes' time for all of the action of the fourth and final race of the evening. Keep it tuned to Absolute Sim Racing.
Welcome back, everyone, to the finale, the final race of round 2 of the BSR MX5 Trophy, sponsored and powered by SIM3D and Go for the Gap. Hockenheimring has proved to give some amazing, fantastic racing, even for such a big circuit with these little MX5s. It has been amazing to watch, as per usual, for this series, and race 4 even will not be any different. We're going to get up your grid results in just a few moments. But Ed, predictions with this final reverse grid? I mean, it's very, very hard to, isn't it?
11th reverse grid. I'm thinking that Sean Campbell, he might be able to take a second race victory, but also we know that Andy McEwen is going to be hungry, missing out on that last lap by the thinnest of margins. Expect him to come through and try his best to snatch another race victory. He got one last season. Can he get one this season? We can see now the cars lining up on the grid. Take us through the starting order.
So, pole position, Frank Vestner. We're going to run through them pretty quickly indeed. Frank Vestner, Adam Delmont, Casper Decourt, Ashley Simpson, Anna McNally, Lee Holmes, Graham McDonald, Tom Griffiths, James Neve, Andy McEwen is your top 10. Sean Campbell and Andy Thompson, P11 and P12. Ryan Main, James Clark, Michael Seal, Gareth Hickling, Lars Fisher, Julian Schrober, Glenn Humberstone, and Brian Stewart are your top 20. And then we have Simon Robson, Shane Piggott, Lou Cooper, Nick Clibbins. Unfortunately, we're not going to have time to go through the remainder of the grid, so they are on your screen. But we are going to have to prep instead for the start of this race. I can't wait.
Oh, neither can I. You can see now the cars getting ready to start. Frank Vesna on the front row. Adam Delmont alongside him. Adam Delmont actually wants to watch as well. I missed him. He's definitely going to be going for it. We know how quick he is. Cars lining up now. You can see the lights coming on the gantry. For the fourth time this evening at the Hockenheimring, we will go racing, and it's a good start from Vesna. Delmont as well. Likely to slot in behind into the first corner. Good get away from all involved. Hopefully we don't see any major dramas into the first corner. No, they all get through there nice and safely. Down to turn 2 where drivers like to try a few moves early on. Oh, there is a spinner in the background. Who was that? One of the Matthews Logistics car. Not sure which one that was, but we'll carry on looking up towards the front. Fred McDonald trying to fight his way past Ashley Stimpson, but can't do so at the moment. In the background you can see race Victor last time out getting through nice and clean. Sean Campbell ahead of, or just behind rather, Andy McEwen. Get these cars all battling their way through. McEwen to the outside, Campbell just to the inside, but James Neave in the number 7 Matthews Logistics car trying to defend from all of them. Andy McEwen's going to try and sweep through, get a good exit, which he does, and then finds a way through if he can. And James Neave is going to have his nose ahead a little bit. You can see a wiggle from Sean Campbell. Doesn't really know what to do with himself. He's just watching these two fight up in front and maybe try and get a little bit extra heat in by quickly working the tyres. Andy McEwen does get through on James Neave there, as Adam Delmont now up in front of the rest of the field ahead of Frank Vesna, as Casper de Court as well up into second place. Casper de Court doing a very good job up the order. He's going to be looking for a race victory as well. Trying to be the third 5-star motorsport driver to take a trip to the top step this evening, as we have a spinner, the 888. That's Ashley Stimpson, M-Class Victor last time out. Losing out now. Just got a little bit too eager on the throttle, perhaps, coming out of the very sort of wide, almost hairpin corner in the stadium section.
Indeed, an interesting first lap, as you say. A few spins, which is not what we want to see. We might see if this is the Brian Stewart's earlier instance right at the very, very start. Is it just going to be a bit over the... Oh, there's a bit of contact. I think Shane Piggott was involved through there. Actually, no, Brian Stewart actually lost it on the cord, and Shane Piggott still got involved. Very, very unlucky. Oh, just tagged as well. That's why you need to hold your brakes if something happens like that. Always, always, always remember to hold your brakes. Andy McEwen and Lee Holmes having a good old tussle. That is currently for P6 overall. Frank Vesta, Casper de Court and Adam Delmont really battling up the top. Do you know what? I think Casper de Court's going to try and have a moment going to as they go through Parabolica. It's going to be Casper de Court is currently leading at this moment in time. But Adam Delmont last of the late breakers. Who is it going to be going through into the hairpin? It's going to be Adam Delmont once again. Oh, a bit of contact between McNally and Vesna. That's cost them both a little bit of time. More so Vesta than McNally. Either way, they still lose out. Not ideal. Michael Seal, a little bit further down, is trying to make some moves. He's made up 3 positions already. Lars Fisher is the person that he's just made up a position of. James Clark is his next person in sight. So that is currently as they stand. Sean Campbell is... actually, do you know what? I think Andy McEwen's just sent it round the outside of Sean Campbell. He has indeed going into the final infield section. That's another position gain for Andy McEwen. Actually, no, sorry, that was Sean Campbell hassling McEwen there. So Sean Campbell's got some very, very good pace. Roll reversal, a carbon copy from what we saw at the end of the last race. And is it going to be a similar move? Sean Campbell tries to go round inside. 3 corners left to go. And it is going to be a move done and dusted. Look at that. Andy McEwen has to tap the brakes to back out because he knew full well that Sean Campbell was still going to pin it through there. Absolutely. Tries to get the run. Can't quite do it though. He just can't carry the same amount of momentum. And Sean Campbell makes that position stick for the moment at least.
Yeah, so cars going through. Adam Delmont leads the way, but only just ahead of Casper de Court, who is really charging through. And that's very wide from Adam Delmont. He's going to be crossing everything to make sure he hasn't got a slowdown there, because You can't really go much wider than that and escape a slowdown. We'll see as he comes out of turn 2 if he's gotten away with it. He's carrying on, so I think he's been very fortunate there because that was... I can't imagine you can get much closer without incurring a penalty from iRacing for that. That was really on the limit. Casper de Court, though, closes in. He's trying to find a way past. You can see how defensive Adam Delmont is going to go into the hairpin, but look at the lunge to the inside. No, covered off just at the last moment by Adam Delmont. That was very close stuff, but the cutback, brilliant stuff from Casper. He's going to try and fight his way through. They are side by side as they make their way into turn 6 and 7. Adam McNally fancies a piece of the pie as well, trying to maybe help out his Excite Racing teammate, maybe bump drafting him slightly. But Casper de Court sending it around the outside, carrying the momentum, then getting the inside for the next corner. Is he going to take the race victory, secure it strongly? Not for the moment, because Adam Delmont again fights it back. Coming into now the corner into the stadium section. Frank Vessner, wow, what an opportunity. Get your words ahead. What an opportunistic move that was. Absolutely sending it through on Adam McNally. But these two, they're still side by side up in front. They've been side by side for nearly an entire lap. But they eventually settle their differences. Adam Delmont hanging on by the fingertips to first place, as Casper de Court is really piling the pressure on now. And I think throughout all of this, something has happened to Andy McEwen. He's dropped all the way down into 19th.
Let's have a quick look and see if we can see what did happen to Andy McEwen. This is coming up now, is going to be the replay. And what is it? Is it going to be just a small bit of the brakes? Oh, I just lose up cold tyres. Cold tyres never cease to catch people out. It's caught me out a fair few times, but again, more times than I care to mention. So not ideal. Jason Cooper, having recovered from his last race, he's now going to go up the inside of Ryan Main. So that is another position gained for him. Done and dusted. No need to worry about that anymore. That is another position. 17 positions gained already for Jason Cooper, as we were seeing last round, and as we've seen in the rounds that I've actually commentated on, it seems that he's got some sort of TARDIS teleportation device that he just makes up positions we don't really see. Craig McDonald, Lee Holmes, Casper de Court, Adam Delmont are going side by side, 2 by 2, Noah's Ark style. Pretty much everyone is at the moment, and Sean Campbell goes up the inside of Craig McDonald. James Neve is going to have a look. Sean Campbell's just going to have a look around the outside of Frank Vessner as it goes around. This is the battle for P5. Lee Holmes is loving this because he's just pushing around. As well. Casper's going through down the inside of Adam Delmont. So now we've had a change for the race lead as well. This has been absolutely amazing stuff we've been treated to here. The fun race is definitely not disappointing. So it is now Casper de Court ahead of Adam Delmont, ahead of Adam McNally, the two Excite Racing Adams. Definitely brought us with some exciting racing. Yay, there you go. That's Barry one.
I was waiting for the whole season long. As soon as I was thinking, how will I work it in? Here we go. That's the first one of many this season.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. And I'll tell you what, though, as you say, with the amount of racing we're going to have, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for that to happen, for you to make your corny jokes there, Ed. Casper de Court, he has got past Delmont, but he's not pulled a gap. It's still 2.5 tenths as it stands. Adam McNally's also only about 4 tenths behind, so let's not count him out. Neither do you count out Lee Holmes, Sean Campbell, Vessner, Neve, McDonald, Thompson, Clark, Seal. I mean, realistically, genuinely, like any one of these people within the top 10 minimum, possibly even the top 14, could win this race. Genuinely, that's how we've seen these things, and that's how we're going to have. Adam Delmont is really pushing Casper de Court as hard as he possibly can go. And do you know what the person I'd like to be at this point? I'd like to be Adam McNally, because he's just sitting there. Look at the front row seats he's got for this battle. Is he going to try to make it a three-way send going into? He goes to the inside. This possibly could be a three-way send to Court. And Delmont swapping position. The timing tower is going absolutely berserk on the left-hand side, as you can see. And McNally tries to get a bit of a cutback. It looks like he just got on the power a fraction too soon. And that caused him to just push a little bit wide. Had to then readdress that, and he's going to do that possibly. And he's going to have to wait for another opportunity to do that. But as I say, he has got the perfect seats in the house to watch what happens between Delmont and Court at this stage. A little bit further down, actually, speaking of the battles that could really happen. I mean, realistically, we didn't go very far back. Michael Seal, James Clark. This train here, okay, is Craig McDonald, James Neve, Andy Thompson, James Clark, Michael Seal, Lars Fisher, Jason Cooper, Luke Cooper. That is this train here. Okay, it's currently being led by Craig McDonald. Whether he wants them or not, probably not. But nevertheless, he is leading that train. There's Frank Vesna on the back of the other train. There is Craig McDonald leading the front of this train here. And there we go. That is the train. It's just one big, long MX5. And realistically, like I said, I mean, also as well, Ed, anyone's got positioned, anyone's got a chance of getting this top 7 position here, realistically, within this field.
Yeah, they certainly do now as we come into the final 5 minutes of racing here this evening. Craig McDonald, like you say, leading this train for 7th place. I'm looking at the battle up in front as well because you could just see the absolute sea of orange up ahead. Adam Delmont, Casper DeCourt, Adam McNally, Lee Holmes, Sean Campbell, and Frank Bessner all within half a second of each other. You could just see actually James Neve late on the brakes could be losing out here to Andy Thompson, who slots in behind, but is going to get a large amount of slipstream. If they start battling, this could be Craig's chance to break away just a touch into these final few moments, which is crucial at this late stage. Look up in front though, Casper DeCourt is going for a move on Adam Delmont. You can see he's just gotten ahead. Delmont down the inside though. Is he going to be able to take that position? I think he will do for the moment. Adam McNally is going to look for a way past, but can't do so just yet. That's actually driving nicely out of the corner. How is this going to work out into the next, though? Look at them all racing so hard, so close together. Casper DeCourt's going to go through it again. The Excite Racing drivers just come to blows. We said this last time. The golden rule, never hit your teammate. And the Excite Racing boys have done it again. Now, I said this last time to them, actually, on the Monday about the contact they had together. And they said, actually, the rule is do hit your teammate because you can't get protested for it. I don't think that was intentional, though. I think they would have much rather have gotten away with that without coming to blows. Unfortunately, they did. And unfortunately, they both lost out.
As you say, they lost out big time. Not what you want to do is, as you say, especially to your teammate. Well, yes, you won't get protested. You'll still get a slap on the wrist from your team boss, which I can imagine the team boss of Excite is not going to be particularly happy, as it's happened 2 weeks on the trot. Jason Cooper has made up 23 positions, currently riding in P8 overall, and there's some more positions to be had, I am sure. Adam McNally is getting hassled quite considerably by Sean Campbell, and Sean Campbell currently in P5 fighting for the P4. He is really pushing hard. I wonder if this is going to be a move, because at this moment in time, Sean Campbell, once he gets past, let me just try that again, eventually the words will come to me, he's then got a 1.3 gap between himself and then Frank Vesna. That is the next car in line. Realistically, I mean, it's definitely a gap that can come down. We know that Sean Campbell has got the pace, but he needs to try and get past Adam McNally as much as he possibly can. Either that or he'll try and work together. There's a bit of a bump there. He's going to try and keep it on the inside. No, he's trying to push. That's a considerable bit of loading, but manages to keep it all checked. I may have to have a look at that possibly. I know that Adam McNally did indeed go a little bit wide. Don't know if that was because of the small push that we had from Sean Campbell there. When it was that was... What on earth happened there?
Cooper, I think, spinning around in the background, but keeping it in a straight line. I want to know how on earth all of this happened. So Luke Cooper in the number 6 Swift Cooper car. Go through. Oh, and again, teammates coming together. This time it's the Swift Cooper drivers. They managed to get back up and running, so it wasn't too severe. And oh my word, it's gone bad to worse. Andy Thompson is stationary on the exit of turn 7. That time it was another teammate collision. Okay, now this time it was just a bit of coming together. The front bumper is missing from one car there, just flying off. There's already another incident up the road. And Andy Thompson and I believe that was Sam Smith coming together. Oh my word, this final race has absolutely exploded into life here in these final few moments. Incidents and accidents all coming together. Stretched out the field a little bit. As we say that, there's yet more actually going on. Shane Piggott has an incident with Ashley Simpson. I think Shane realises that he was probably the driver at fault. Great sportsman like driving allows Ashley Simpson to come back through.
As you say, good sportsmanship. It's nice to see that. Lars Fischer actually trying to run now without a front bumper. Still doing quite well in P11. He's actually fighting for the top 10 position with himself and Ryan Main. So that's something you don't necessarily see every day. At the front, though, very much the battle on this last lap. This is the battle to watch for. We are going to be switching to that in a few moments' time. Tom Griffiths possibly going to lose out on a position. I'm just thinking, Craig Cockrell possibly going to lose out on a position to Tom Griffiths. Good switch back there, like it. Unfortunately, that is going to leave Craig Cockrell for the outside of for the inside of turn 3, and then it is a drag race back down into the battle. Let's have a look at this, because this is a four-way battle to the finish. Lee Holmes, Casper de Court, Sean Campbell, Frank Vesna. Oh my goodness. Look at Sean Campbell. I thought Sean Campbell was going to get the run going through. Unfortunately, he's lost out a bit of time, so he might lose that time out onto Frank Vesna. There we go. So they're going to go side by side. The person that came out in all of that was Casper de Court, and he was the person that actually... Indeed, yeah, he was the person that was on the back foot going into the corner, and he was the person that's now come out on top going out. Sean Campbell, long way round the outside of Vesna, manages to keep it in check. Good stuff. That's P2. Can we see for the first time in this particular round, are we going to see a double victor in round 2? We haven't seen this yet as of this moment, and as of round 2, we've had a different winner for each race. Could this be the break in that chain? Are we going to see Sean Campbell make this move? He's only got 2 or 3 corners left to do it. Lee Holmes tries to go around the outside of Frank Vesna. Can't quite do it because Adam McNally is now going to go, thank you very much, chaps. He's going to have a bit of a nibble. Can't quite make it stick, though. He tries it, but nothing's going to happen as of yet. People are just diving back and forth, but nothing is happening. And it's going to be at the front. Casper de Court, is he going to do it? Yes, he is. Casper de Court. Look at that. The race number 4 victor with Sean Campbell only a couple of dents behind. What an amazing race and a well-deserved victory for Casper de Court. They're absolutely fantastic stuff.
Casper de Court takes his first race victory of this SIM3D BSR trophy. And what a way to win it in the last gasp moment, sending it into the hairpin. I really do want to have another look back at that move, because that was a brilliant, smart move as well. It wasn't just send it and hope. He was calculating that, you could tell. And what a way to take a race victory. And we said, didn't we, after Jason Cooper's victory, we've just got to wait for, obviously, Lars Fischer, who took his race victory. And then I was saying Casper de Court, if he comes through for his first victory of the season, it will be all of the 5-star motorsport drivers that will have taken a victory this evening. And you know what? They've done exactly that. Great stuff from them. I'm sure they'll be very pleased with that. And I know usually we have a chance to crown a driver who has been driver of the round. Team of the round has got to be 5-star motorsport. Each of their
100%.
drivers snatching a race victory. What a drive. What a race from them.
100%. Team boss, team principal, whoever that may be, is going to be very, very happy, as is the remainder of the team. That was very, very good. You can't argue with it. Very dominant in terms of teams. Again, the drivers are quick. Drivers have got good racecraft. They know exactly what they're doing. Overall, fantastic stuff. So, yeah, we're going to give you that final confirmation in a few moments. And then we're going to see if we can have a quick interview with a few drivers. We won't be able to interview people for too long, but...
Sorry, I'm just thinking as well. I've been having a look at the point standings now. We haven't had any confirmation yet. We'll see what the scores are like when they come in, but I think it could be very close between Adam McNally and Casper de Court for the lead of this championship at this early stage. So we'll keep our eyes open for that. But Casper de Court has been doing some very good, consistent race results. He's finished within the top 10 around about 5 times so far this season. Adam McNally finishing in the top 5 6 times this season. So great efforts from all of them. Got now, though, confirmation on your screen. Casper de Court takes his first race victory of the season ahead of race 3 victor Sean Campbell. Frank Vesna in 3rd place for Team Gonzo Racing also takes the Pro-Am class victory. Adam McNally finishing in 4th. Head of Lee Holmes 5th, that's 2nd in the Pro-Ams. Head of James Clark, James Neve. Michael Seal finishes 3rd in the Pro-Ams, 8th overall, ahead of Adam Delmont. Lars Fischer in 10th. Nick Clibbins, Ryan Main, Andy McEwen did well to fight back, actually. I think for a period of time he was 20th. Fought back very nicely to finish 13th, just ahead of Jason Cooper. Sam Smith finishes 15th, ahead of Tom Griffiths, Craig Cockrell, and Luke Cooper in 18th place. Then we will go to 19th. and see the first of the AM drivers, Ashley Stimpson, again taking another AM class victory, ahead of Shane Piggott, Craig Schill, Glenn Humberston finishes second in the AM class, 22nd overall. Julian Schroeder, 23rd, ahead of Douglas Stewart, Andy Thompson, and Brian Stewart, 26th place, is the third place driver in the AM class. And also the last driver to score points is 2 laps down. Craig McDowell doesn't score any points, 4 laps down. Harley Moss doesn't score points either. And of course, the rest of the field got Mark Oliver, Gareth Hickling, Simon Robson, Renato Campana, and Fiona Siddons, all not scoring points, unfortunately, in this final race. But what a final race that was. Do you know what, Dan? If we can, I want to have another look at that move by Casper de Kort for the race lead. That was brilliant stuff.
Absolutely. Let's go and quickly let's go and have a look at it, because I would be up for seeing it again, to be perfectly honest. So we just find that. Yeah, that was a very, very good move indeed. Cannot argue with that at all. Just confidence. Like, had so much confidence. That was a key thing that I was looking at. It's just. So this is a little bit further. This is a bit too far. But here we go. I mean, again, So we see
He's
Casper
Heller at
de
the
Kort.
outside, and then he's forced inside, isn't he? And from here, you're thinking, how on earth is he going to do it? He breaks early, doesn't he? Allows, obviously, Frank Vestner to outbrake himself, allows the inside to go the way of Lee Holmes. You can see that Sean Campbell fancies a run through. Casper de Kort keeps the middle of the road, but his exit is brilliant. There's a little bit of a bump there, as you can see. I think that was Lee Holmes just a little bit out of shape on the exit. He just powers through. He puts his car in the best spot possible. He's very smart about how he drove that, and it worked out in the end because he was able to take the race victory.
Yeah, I think, realistically, the fact that we had Sean braking earlier, okay, the fact we had Sean braking a little bit earlier, I think really, to be honest, it did help. Because with Casper braking a bit earlier, because what that did, that then allowed him to carry the momentum through the corner in that middle of the road. He wasn't taking the tight line that you would normally see. He wasn't going really far out, but he scrubbed off enough speed that he could still get the car rotated and then get on the throttle soon. Yes, he did push a bit while there was a bit of contact, but at the same time, I think the contact was always going to happen. It wasn't too bad. But yeah, just the perfect placement of the car. It was just really, really good to watch. And again, just can't argue with it at all.
Yeah, that was just brilliant stuff. That was just one of the greatest moves I've seen on the final lap to take the position. Probably up there as well with Sean Campbell's move on Andy McEwen on the last lap of the third race. But Hockenheimring, we always expected it to provide us with some excellent racing, but I didn't really know we were going to be tricked to this much wheel-to-wheel action. I'm just seeing if there are any drivers that fancy coming into the Coles box. It would be good to see if maybe one of the 5-star motorsport drivers had come in to have a word after their 3 drivers getting race victories each. Fortunately, I don't think we will be seeing that. We'll just wait a little while longer, won't we, Dan? Because they've been a standout performance of this evening.
Absolutely, we will indeed. As you say, we'll just wait just a little bit longer, and then we'll see how we see who is still available or who would like to come down. Oh, I mean, again, the big tracks really work here. Like, they really, really work. And I think, again, like, realistically, when you're looking at it from a perspective of, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you've got to make sure, like we were saying, like, timing is everything, isn't it? You've got to have timing. Like at a long circuit, we saw it at Red America, we'll see it at a place like Red Atlanta, to a certain degree Red Bull Ring as well. Realistically, we're going to have to, and you're going to have to be so careful of where you realistically place the car. And when you overtake, it's going to be such a key thing. Here is, look, pretty much every single circuit at some point. So you got Sebring, long straight, got to have good placement.
That's
Red
going to
Bull
be great.
Ring, yeah, absolutely. Red Bull Ring, that'll be good. Spa-Francorchamps, Oran Park, not necessarily. I probably don't think that'd be too much in terms of slipstream. It would just be trying to follow and keep up mid-corner speed. Red Atlanta, 100%. Hungaroring, if it's here, it should be, then possibly that might be again something you won't have to worry about too much. Honestly, it's just this track is going to be, this calendar is so heavily influenced on slipstream.
Really looking forward to this, aren't I? Aren't we both really looking forward to this? Of course, Imola, one of my favourite tracks as well. You've got that long start-finish stretch, plenty of chances for drivers to use slipstream to their advantage there as well. But Sebring, that's going to be brilliant because you've got that sort of the little hairpin, don't you? When sort of after that went flat out away to the next one. And then, of course, coming out of the Le Mans section, flat out towards Sunset. We saw some great moves there last season, actually, didn't we, Dan? So we'll be treated to all of that and hopefully a little bit more next time out. No drivers, though, coming through for a word with us, Dan. So we will have to say goodbye, unfortunately, after what has been a great evening's racing. I will, though, just have a little look through some of the provisional, at least, standings coming out of this round. Obviously, the second meeting of racing, we get information about all the points drivers have got, and we can tell you actually the top driver this night in terms of points, if points are to be believed, was Adam McNally. While he was in the wars a little bit, he consistently finished high up within the top 10 and backs himself 304 points out of a possible 400. So good stuff from Adam. Tom Griffiths on his return back to the championship, good stuff from him, back in 302 points. So he's certainly no slouch on his return, not lost any of his pace that we saw from last season. And then Frank Vestner, Pro-Am driver, who flew a little bit under the radar, I think it has to be said, but with that third place finish, he's actually the third best driver tonight as well, 297 points. So good stuff all around, some really close fighting. And I mean, the championship is still wide open for the taking. Just having a little bit of a look at the provisional standings here, and Adam McNally is leading the way, but not by much, only by about 6 points to Casper de Court. And you've got James Clark, John Campbell, and Adam Delmont right behind him. So it is still wide open. Obviously, some of the big hitters, the likes of Jason Cooper, Ben Sharp, struggling early doors. Of course, they will be expected to find their feet a little bit later on, but at the moment, you can't really call a driver to come out on top.
No, you can't. Absolutely not. It's something that is certainly all up in the air, and it's going to be all up in the air, I think, personally, till the last round, even the last race. The only thing that I could think of, actually, as you may have lost Ed for a few moments, the only thing I could actually think of is, unless we have someone that is able to keep into their stride and then start really pushing, which is what we saw with Jason Cooper in the last round, last season, I just don't think there's going to be, this could be a very, very close championship. Again, we'll have to see how it all pans out. Yeah,
definitely. And I'm looking forward to this. We've had, I guess, your final thoughts there, Dan. And I think that is time for us to wrap it all up.
It is indeed. I mean, final thoughts, fantastic as always. Thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you to the people and all the drivers at BSR and all the organisers at BSR for making this series absolutely fantastic to watch, fantastic to participate in and to commentate on and to broadcast. Big thanks as well to our sponsors, SIM3D and Go for the Gap for this season. Great to have both of them on board. But as Ed said, we are going to have to wrap up. We look forward to seeing you next time out, which is going to be at Sebring International Raceway on the 28th of September. Make sure you stick around for then. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already to keep up to date with the live streams and the broadcast. We do broadcasting around 3 or 4 times a week, so you get lots of different sim racing action on your screens for you to watch. So it'd be great to see you in another stream very, very soon. But until next time, everyone, make sure you take care and stay safe.